Yeah, and most of what we have is going to be okay. All right, so this will be located. I just removed it. Located under your reports folder under the back office, and it just says vendor entry form or vendor entry. Taking the liberty to go ahead and fill one of these out ahead of time because it's very simple and straightforward. Again, anything in gold is a required field. You have to put something in there. You enter your vendor number, vendor name, and when you hit the tab key, it's going to put the license name and the check name in there, but you can't overwrite them. Status will be active. Class ID for a vendor that you're going to buy inventory from will be inventory. You can have multiple addresses, but you have to have at least one, which is primary. And here again, the fields in orange, these are all required fields. You can enter these here. This will be the shipping method, which is all there is truck, tax schedule ID. Do we even use that?
No, you guys will leave those blank.
Yeah, you can just leave those blank.
Notice the email addresses in there. So if you're sending, if the primary address, that's the only one where you send POs to, email POs, make sure you're putting your email address in there.
And this doesn't check to verify that it's a valid email address. So if it's wrong.
Is this what you're putting in a PO, or is this to set up a vendor?
This is just to set up the vendor for right now. This will only take a few minutes, and we'll go right into entering a PO. But we haven't covered this yet. Again, the address IDs, right now it's all defaulted to primary because that's the only one we had. But if you had one for broker address so that could go onto the PO, you would have to add that in here so that we could pull that information onto the PO.
So we would do Moet, we would do Moet Hennessy. Right, Maureen's going to do it. So we're going to do Moet Hennessy. New Jersey is going to be the primary, and then we're going to have a Moet France, and we're going to have a Moet California.
Mm-hmm.
So your primary will be the number, right?
Keep going.
And then the secondary one will be the number.
It's a different vendor card, like it's a separate vendor.
So that's not this, what we're looking at right now?
This is just the address of the vendor you're setting up.
Yes.
Okay.
So you're talking about if you have multiple ship points and each one has their own sort of like freight cost associated with
Correct.
it. Maybe you pay a different FOE. In that scenario, you set up separate vendors.
Okay.
And then you can roll them together using a reporting vendor field, which Bill will show you in here.
Okay, so what is this then?
If you have a different address that you send your AP checks to versus the one that you send your PO to, you'd want to set up an address called primary to send your POs to, and then set up another one called like payables to send your checks to. Or you can store any sorts of addresses on there as well. So it's just a good storage location.
Mm-hmm. And payment terms is a drop-down box. For the payment terms, you just select. And this is where we were talking about the reporting vendor. If you have a vendor with multiple ship points and they're all different vendor IDs, you can put in here the vendor that you want all of their information to report under. So that everything that goes under those multiple ship points would be reported as one vendor. And you have your reporting agencies. There's a drop-down box to select them. Reporting vendor code, whatever that code for that reporting agency is, would go in there. If there's a second one, you do the same thing. If you have a VIP distributor ID, you would put that in there.
Does Maureen know the depletion agency information when she sets up the vendors?
I don't know.
Sometimes I think she does. Other times they send us emails afterwards. Like I know I receive a lot of emails from suppliers, so I forward it on to Andy because right now he's the one who's maintaining all of it and sending it. But once it's automatic, I'm sure it'll probably be more of a function of hers because she'll just be adding it to the vendor card.
Yeah. So she does not have to add it at the time that she's setting up the form. She can go into the system afterwards and add it later.
Yeah.
Okay. Then we have some notes, a PO note. You can put that in here. This will appear on every PO for that vendor. And then if there's shipping terms, you can also enter that in there.
That's just an additional note type with a different label. Those both end up showing on the PO, so you can put all your notes under PO note.
All right. And then once you're done, just click Submit. Right now, it's designed to not clear the form in case there's an issue, so you don't have to re-enter all your data. It may be left off permanently, or it can switch later to after you hit Submit that it clears the form for you to do your next one. First time it connects, it takes a few minutes or a few seconds longer to make that connection.
So internally, we're gonna have to decide if you guys are gonna set up new vendors, if you have like a different ship point. You know what I mean? Like if you have a supplier that says, oh, by the way, we're gonna add a ship point from New Jersey, if we're gonna have you do that, or if we're gonna have Maureen do that too. I'm gonna make a note.
So that message that
Oh,
comes up
yeah.
there, it looks really scary.
Yeah.
It's not. It's telling you something went wrong when it went to create the vendor. So it says right there at the top, vendor ID already exists. So they'll just have that vendor ID already in there.
Yeah.
If you get one of those while testing, take a screenshot and send it to us, and we can tell you either it's something that you entered wrong, or hey, there's something wrong in our form. Congratulations, you found a problem.
All right. So I'm just going to go ahead and close that. And I'll show you where in GP you can find it. There's two ways to get to it. Under Cards, Purchasing, and Vendor. That's one way. Or up on the nav pane here, you select Purchasing. And under Cards, you'll see Vendor.
What was the other way?
Select Purchasing down here. Oh, you can't see it. Select Purchasing down here.
Yeah.
Down where?
Just shrink like the whole thing.
Yeah.
No, not your remote desktop. Like just shrink GP. Because yeah, I actually had to have it moved over like a decent amount.
Yeah, there you go, right there.
Okay.
That's where I did it.
Purchasing and what?
Costs.
And then when you go up to Cards, it's
Cards,
Vendor.
yeah.
And then what?
And then vendor.
Then Vendor.
Well, what was the other one?
At the top.
At the top, under Cards here,
Yeah.
Purchasing, Vendor.
Oh.
So we can either do the top bar or we can do along the side, whichever
Mhm.
one's going to be.
If you're going to be working in purchasing, it's probably easier to have this window open. And then you can readily click the options you want. Make sure that vendor is in there. And there's that. There's the vendor 1, 2, 3 that already existed. You can see the information. They have two different addresses, one for purchasing and one for payables. Like Natalie was mentioning earlier, you remit to the payables, but they ship from the purchasing, and then the purchase address is purchasing. And if you go to this window and you scroll through, you'll see the payables. There's nothing in there, but that would be the payables address. And if they had an email address, it would be right in here. You click the globe to get to it. It's here. And it would be right in here. Any questions on that? I can show you where the reporting vendor is information. This is the window that has the reporting vendor. This would be where if you're having a vendor that you want to report a group of vendors under, it would go there. And this is where your depletion agencies would be listed. Any questions? All right.
Do we have that new vendor report to show them too?
Yes. There's a report out there called a new vendor alert, and this will show you all vendors that were entered today, and it will give you this basic information. If you need any other information than that, we can add it. But this was the basic information.
And I have the list of people for you that I have to make it to an email group, right? For that to be sent to.
Mm-hmm.
Are we one of them? Sure.
Yeah. Yeah, so you know how Andy has, kind of like an email blast that he sends out when he makes one?
Mm-hmm.
So what's gonna happen is at the end of the day, that will auto send to that same group of people.
Okay.
So if there's multiples making a day, they'll all be on one sheet.
Okay.
Well, once you've got your vendor in and your items in, next thing to do is you can look at a purchase requirements report. I'm not sure who's going to look at this, but I've only got it set up for 2 items right now. That's so you can notice. This will show you in bottles what's been sold each month up through the last full month. Starting here, June is still an open month. So what it's going to do is it's going to take the average of the previous 4 months of both the current year and the prior year and calculate a percent of increase or decrease, whichever it happened to be, and we'll apply that to June. And then this is what it's saying is this is your estimated sales that you're going to have for June in bottles. And based on this, you can make assumptions as to whether you need to create a purchase order or not.
Was that always going to show up as bottles and not as cases?
Yes.
So the whole system is in bottles?
No, just this report is set up in bottles. We can
Something else.
switch it to case equivalents, but I feel like
This report is case equivalent.
right now it is bottles.
The sales history?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
It's always been in case equivalent, so I don't know.
Okay.
We might wanna check that.
That
I thought it was
switch
case
to case
equivalent.
equivalent.
Right.
Yeah, that will be to case equivalent, we'll
Right.
double check it, but
Okay.
all of that will show in case equivalent.
Okay. Right now it's bottles, so when you look at it,
Okay.
but that will get changed. And then it just calculates the estimate going forward based on the previous
Right,
year's
right.
sales.
Right. 4 months rolling.
Right.
Submitted the estimate.
And this will be a rolling 12 months. So at the end of June, March of the previous year will drop off. And June will come over to where May is, and everything will shift by 1 month.
Can that run by supplier or does it run by item?
This runs by items. I've reduced it down to 2 items so it doesn't take long to run it.
Oh, there is another report by vendor. There is a totally different report that looks exactly like that. That's going to be by vendor that we're running right now.
This report, when you run it, it breaks it down eventually by item, but you get the option to run it by
By vendor.
vendor.
Right.
You can run it by a buyer, if you guys assign buyers.
I did yesterday.
I think you can also run it by item class too. Can you hit refresh, Phil, and show us what those parameters are, please? Yeah, just hit that. Yeah, so buyer, item class, supplier. I'm pretty sure that, last one is, discontinued means you're not gonna purchase it anymore. So you could drop those out of this report and just run it for something that's sales inventory. But in the end, no matter what the parameters you select, it'll restrict it to just that, but then it shows by item and all that stuff that Bill just showed you.
So once you've made your decision on which items you need to purchase, you use this option right here, purchase order entry. And this is the box that you're going to get open. Your type will always be standard, so let it default to standard. It will default to the next PO number available in the system. It's a incremental. So it looks at what's already been, it knows what's been used, it goes to the next number automatically. Buyer ID, you can select it. And later on, there will be more in there. Right now, it's just John's. Pick the vendor ID, and I'm going to select one because I just happen to know an item that's under that vendor. We'll default them in, and I think it's 1025. Yep. Excuse me. As you can see, the price automatically populated. That's based on the FOBs that were entered at the item level with the vendor and item combination. So that at this point, you just enter the quantity that you're going to order in cases.
Right, and we have to use a decimal point?
Yes. And that's GP, that's not us.
You can enter 2 zeros, or, zeros after it too, and whichever is easier.
Look, if you wanted 5 cases, you could do 500.
Yep.
I think 000.
Yeah, 4 zeros. Either 5 point or 5 with 4 zeros. Whichever way. Whichever way you're quickest at. And you just tab, and you're ready for your next number.
Okay, so yesterday Lisa pointed out that this isn't showing the
Size.
size.
That's correct.
On that screen.
Yes.
But it does, you printed the PO bill and you can print it again. Also, if you hit the, if you do control, yeah, that,
You have to go to the item card.
or if you just hit control L bill, I think that generic description shows on there. See where size is right there? That shows as well. But as far as on the screen when you're entering, no, you either have to do the control L, which will pull up the item and show you the size, or when you print the PO, it'll show the size. It's just not going to be on that main screen. There's only so much real estate, and GP did not feel like that was one of the fields they show.
What if you don't know an item number?
Select the
Control L. You can do the spyglass.
spyglass
or Control L.
or Control L. Gives you the
Just
same.
window. And then you can look it up by description, by any of those find options, that little drop down box by the find. They'll hit that find again. And the drop down box where it says description, you can look on any of those things. That'll help you get to an item.
Okay, so when we're looking up an item, and can we type in, like, if we know
Part of the word.
like we know it's burn caster, cab, something. Can we do BERN space?
Yeah,
KAB.
on this window right here in your PO lookup, it's gonna be starts with. So you've gotta type the description it'll start with. In the nav pane, which Bill can jump to here in a second on items, you can do a contains on it. So like, let's say I wasn't sure of what item, stick in inventory, go to the items. Now can you do your total left, Bill?
Oh. Wrong one.
To the left, where it says item.
This one?
Nope. Here. You wanna go to your
Oh, I'm sorry.
to your left.
My other left.
And if you add columns here, do right click. Columns. You'll have to go up here actually. We have usually one set up which it doesn't look like we do. Customize. Oh, you'll have to do save as, sorry. This is the canned. Just do description. Item space description.
No.
That's alright, just hit.
It's close enough.
Remove this one and put a better one out there.
Yeah.
Go here again to the drop down here, Bill, and do customize. And on columns, hit that little blue arrow, and then you're gonna put generic description, item description. You can do these too. Yeah, BPP is fine. Text, I probably isn't as important. and you can hit save. Okay. So on this one, anything in any of these fields you want to do a contains in that filter, type vodka. It doesn't start with, it'll contain. And hit enter for your little blue arrow next to it. And that's going to pull you a list of everything that it contains. It doesn't have to start with, it doesn't have to. So this little napping, we'll put a prettier one out there for you and arrange it. But that is a list that you can go to search for an item and find anything.
But it's outside of the actual creating the purchase order.
It's outside of the PO. You can have an action here that, like, you can click on this and one of these actions is actually in there that says new PO, and it'll start a PO for you with that item. But it's not going to add it to your existing PO that you got going on. The lookup inside the PO window, Bill, you can pull that back up where you were. The lookup inside the PO window, that is going to be just a starts with. So my item description starts with. So if you don't know what it starts with and you need to do a little exploration otherwise, you're going to have to go, now you can have both of these up at the exact same time.
Okay.
You move this to the side and you pull this one over and you can
Okay.
search and contain and then
Okay.
get your number and type it in. I mean,
Okay.
you're not moving out of that screen. That screen's up to the side. You can just pull it over. And you can do the exact same. Bill's not going to be able to do that because he's got
Okay.
two screens, or
Okay.
one screen.
Okay.
I'm going to fix your screen thing because we can't see. So let's move this a little better.
With all of the Microsoft stuff, you can snap too. So if you drag it all the way to the right of your screen, it'll snap it.
Yeah, but for $100, we're just gonna probably end up having to get a couple of. There's probably only 3 people.
Yeah, my screen is
Just
big.
don't change your width
Okay.
and keep
So, like-
everything in between these two.
Like she can have 3
Otherwise,
things
they're-
open.
they're
I can't
losing.
do that.
Right.
It's
Right.
you can't do it.
No, I have one large screen. I don't have, I have my small laptop one, but on my desk I have one large screen. What's nice about this window as well, just kind of like I was doing, you can't really see Bill's whole screen, but I moved it in. A lot of times I don't have GP necessarily open all the way. I just keep it as big as half. And then the little sub windows that I open,
Right.
I keep on the side.
Right.
So even if you don't have 2 screens, sometimes you don't need it if you have a large enough one screen and you can just kind of shrink
Well,
this one to
her
make
screen
half.
is her screen is
Yeah.
like 15 inches.
Oh, it's not very big anyway.
Yeah.
So you're
Yeah.
in a patchy.
Yeah.
I can help you with that.
Because the lady yesterday was trying to help me do something, and she's
Yeah.
like, "Just do." I'm like, "I can't. You can't. It's too small. I
Yeah.
can't even read it."
That'll be an Andy thing. You can talk to him about.
He's behind us. He's listening.
Yeah.
Now, along with entering the PO, there's, just like you have in any of the other areas, there's numerous places to put notes. If you highlight the item number, use the blue expansion arrow. Actually, not there. I want to go here. Under additional, there's PO specific note. This is for this PO itself. You click on that and use the plus button. And this is going to be for the PO.
All right, so just go back a second.
Let me close this and I'll go back and do it again. Go to additional.
No, hang on. So what you do is you first you highlight the item number.
Well, we don't need to do that yet. For this one, you don't need to highlight it.
Oh, okay.
For the PO note, it's just for the PO itself.
Okay.
So you just click additional, PO specific note, click the plus sign to add. From the drop down, you're going to select PO because that's what you want to add the note to. And then you just type in your note.
Is that a note for the item?
No, this is for the PO.
The PO.
We,
Overall PO.
this is just the overall PO. We will have a line item note as well.
All right, so this is like if we have something like a special order for per hours, all right, for the whole PO that's going to go out to Infineon, all right?
Mm-hmm.
This is where you would type it, special PO for hours, per hours. which is gonna print on the PO, and it's gonna go to Infineon that way, because they were waiting for a PO from Alex. It's gonna print on the PO. So this isn't like if Alex was supposed to get one case free, this is not line specific, this is PO specific. So you know how right now we type at the top, please ship as soon as possible, please, all right, we don't need to do that anymore, because there's gonna be, he's gonna show us another drop down where we're gonna click on all of that stuff. This would be something special for the PO, like must ship on pallets, like over and above, or must ship in a reefer, over and above what else we're gonna do, something special, something like.
All right.
It's the same notes that we're using right now, just in a different place.
But it's gonna print where the item is?
No, it's
No.
It's a PO note.
But
So
when
like
you're
on
in an item, you have to pick it?
No.
No.
So you.
Not for this one.
We're not in
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
We are on the PO.
Yeah, this is just a PO.
Everything he's doing right now is on the PO. All we did was select an item to put on the PO.
Right.
But you are on the PO right now. So Bill, can you back out one more time? Just to the PO screen. So cancel.
So we're
This is
just
the
on.
whole PO. If you go to additional at the top on the whole PO, you can do a note that will show, like in that comment section, I think you guys, it's either at the bottom or the top. There is a line comment per PO, but we haven't done it yet.
That's
This
next.
This is just PO specific. If there's something special that you need to write on the PO over and above any of the stamps that we currently put on the POs,
Okay.
this is where we would do it.
Okay, and you'll see where this prints later.
There's also a receiving note in there.
Great. So now let's just say that this item, okay, 5 cases, 1 case out of the 5 cases needs to come upstairs. All right. So 1 case to purchasing. All right. So this won't print on the PO that's going to Infineon. It's going to print because it's a receiving note. It's going to print on the receiving ticket that we send out to the warehouse. Okay.
Nanny's done her homework.
See how it says there, PO and then receiving. If you can, I know it's hard to read, but
But how does it know what case?
because there's only 1 item on here.
Well, that's what I said before, is it,
Now, that's
is
a
it
good
to that one
question.
item?
This is an overall receiving note, so you would probably want to put the item number in the receiving note there. So you put item number to
Okay.
upstairs.
Right. Because we only have one item open on the PO. If it was multiple, yes, then yes. But you can write a receiving note to 1 item.
No.
Okay.
The receiving note is just overall.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, that's fine.
Now, for the PO or for the line item, you highlight the item, use the blue arrow, come down to where it says comment ID, do the blue arrow again, and this is where you can put a line item note.
Like no charge.
Mm-hmm.
You could write no charge in there, or SPA.
Yep.
Okay.
All right, and just save it. Down here where this comment ID is, usually we don't put anything in there. We do this on a later. There's a workbook that you can go in and update. This is actually what truck it would be on.
Okay. Now, where did we type in the SPA note? I thought we typed that in the comment thing.
At the
No.
line.
At the line, highlight the item number,
Okay. Go to the
blue arrow. Go to the comment here,
Okay,
but do it
so
where the
is in
blue
the
arrow
comment,
is.
but it's okay.
The blue arrow.
Okay. Okay.
And that's where you keep
Okay.
right there.
Right. Okay.
All right. There's also some PO shipping instructions. You can put under ASAP, and these also print under the shipping instruction notes at the bottom of the PO.
Right. So you know how we type in the notes right now? Ship as soon as possible, and then we run it back through the pallets. So we want pallets required. That's it. Thermal blanket required.
And this here is if you're going to buy this from someone over in Europe, if you check this euro, when the PO prints, the euro symbol will print instead of a dollar sign.
We have that as a sample for us.
Okay. I'm going to leave that off for now, but that's what that's for. All right. This is the shipping note. Remember where I was in the vendor card and I said that was a vendor note? That's where it came from.
So we just give you a spot to see if there's a note at the vendor card, which will show on every PO for that vendor. Makes sense?
Mm.
So you got overall specific PO notes, overall receiving PO notes, notes that you can put on the line, individual lines, and then you have a note at the vendor card, and if there's a note there, it shows on every purchase order for that vendor,
Okay.
not just the specific.
Okay.
Make sense? No? Do you want me to go through it again?
So what happens is like, I have a vendor out in California, and I list the trucker as Fast Break / AG, okay, TSC. They've been putting the trucker as TSC, but when it goes to release to the warehouse, Fast Break's not showing. So on the vendor card, I can write trucker is Fast Break. So every time that PO prints, Fast Break's going to show up again on that vendor card to that PO. Yes?
Yep, you can do that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so if like you're Infineum, so Infineum, you want them to always give you the when it's ready before shipping, you can write that note there in the vendor card. Must contact Slocum for shipping instructions prior to shipping. You can write that in the vendor card, so every time you put an Infineum in or Four Roses in, they'll even though there's a trucking name's gonna show on there, the same as now.
Yeah, but see, that's a problem, because, it's a problem for me, because I have 3 places that even if you put must call for quote, they still.
Right, I understand that, but this is where we would put it. This is where we would put that information. We can add this information here, and then we can reiterate it in the email, because it's not gonna email directly to them, it's gonna email to us, and then we're gonna forward it over with any other comments that we have.
Okay.
But that's where you could write that note. Must contact Slocum prior to shipping for instructions. Because against the vendor card, we have a trucker already assigned from the trucking lane that I put together.
But you have a ship point.
Ship point,
Yeah.
right.
So you could cross that off before you send it, right? You could print it and then cross it off.
Sure, yeah. Yeah. Right now it's set up to email to us, to email to them, but we could print it, cross it off, and then, yeah.
You ready to move on?
Can you open up the dates window, please?
Oh, yes. Right now, when you create a PO, all the dates default to the day you entered it.
Okay.
The promised ship date will be the date that you got a notice from the supplier that they're going to ship it. And that is on the review POs on trucks workbook, which you'll see later, is where you can add the carrier, and you can also change the date from the date that's under there right now, 6/21, to whatever the correct date is.
All right, so promised ship date is the date to ship.
That's scheduled to come into your warehouse.
Scheduled to come into your warehouse.
Yeah.
Promised ship date is ETA North Haven. Okay.
These other dates, you guys, we can't change the label of them.
Right.
You can define what you want. So you guys define that the requisition date you want to be the date that the PO was placed. The required date underneath there, that's the date that you want to say it was released to the consolidator.
What's the other one? I can't read it.
Requisitions at the top.
Right.
Required is next. That's the date released to the consolidator. Promise date, that's going to be your Saturday date, where you estimate your ETA.
Right, so required required is the date we wanna ship it. So if I wanna ship it as soon as possible, I'm gonna leave in today's date. If I want to ship it with a 2-week lead time, I'm gonna put 2 weeks out.
All I know about the required is that's date release to the consolidator.
That's all we wrote.
And then promised is Saturday,
Promises, you guys wanna do your
that's our
Saturday.
fake date.
Yep, your fake date.
Alright, so if I have a 2-week lead time, I need to put 2 weeks out in the required.
Yes.
Otherwise, it will default to today.
Mhm.
All of these are gonna default today. You have to come in and move all of these. Now, don't touch the promise ship date one. Bill's gonna show you a process later where that can update for you. But requisition, required, and promised as part of your internal workflow, you come in and change those. Then we can display those in smart lists so you guys can keep track of all of those different dates.
Okay.
Alright.
At each one of the line items on the PO, you have your landed cost group. That is all of the other expenses that you're going to incur when you order this product. So duty, customs, freight, etc. You're going to get billed for that, but not from the supplier that you're ordering from a different vendor. Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Every item has a landed cost group assigned to them, and it will pull in to the PO. So that will just appear. If for some reason you're ordering from a different location for that item, you need to change that landed cost group if those costs change. Make sense?
And you can do that just from the spyglass here.
Right.
And then you just go through the list to find the one you need.
If you're ordering in bottles,
Alright, so hang on.
yeah, go ahead.
Hang on. So this one here, for instance, if I was gonna order it from California, this item, okay, I would have another
Great.
vendor.
Yes?
I would have another vendor, but if I chose, because it's a one-time off, I can change it here.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Now, even if you put it to the other vendor, though, the landed cost group is assigned at the item level. So even if you place the PO to the other vendor, the other ship point, you still need to change the landed cost group. Because each item only gets one default
Oh, that's
landed
right.
cost group.
That's right.
Yes.
That's right. I remember that.
So you'd have to change it here anyways.
Right, so like the Moet that I buy DI, the yellow label, we chose the yellow label as a DI because we don't buy that much of it from New Jersey, we buy it primarily from, so the landed cross group is gonna say FR Spark.
So every time I order it out of Jersey,
You're gonna have to go in to here and change it to New Jersey.
Now, the default you want in the item card is what you order most.
Primarily, right,
Yes.
right,
So you,
right. So 99% or 95% of the time, it's gonna be correct. It's just gonna be the yellow label that you buy out of New Jersey. All the other ones are gonna be correct.
so where do you change that? Cause, so now, like.
Let me
say-
go back and show
like
you.
Today, Anchor. Say I ordered something on Anchor.
Right.
And I put it on California.
Right.
And he says, nope, I took it off your California one and I put it on your Jersey one. I'd have to
Highlight the item number.
go back on the other PO that I wasn't using, or that I already gave him, take it off that one, put it on this one, put it on the new one, and every item I'd have to look because those change all the time on Anchor.
Right.
They'll
Correct.
they'll
That's
warehouse for like 7 months in
Correct.
Jersey, and then the warehouse for the rest in.
Right. But if we
California.
find that they're all changing like in a uniform, then we can change them all. We can change the item card.
They change during the year though,
yeah, that's.
Right.
based on where they bring it in.
You
Right.
can change it at
But
the
we can
item
change
card,
we can
or
change it at the item card, or we
you
can.
can change it on the original PO too. So let's say that you placed the PO, you sent it, you find out later before you receive it that they changed it. You can come back to the PO and update it so that your costs are right.
Right. The difference is that a PO out of California and a PO out of New Jersey have to be two separate POs. So we would delete it off of one PO and put it on another. But what she's saying is
Yep.
that, like right now, all of the inventory came into California, and now all of a sudden, they got a better rate into New Jersey, so now
they're
they're
housing
gonna
in
warehouse
Jersey.
everything in New Jersey, so what used to be primary to California is now primary to New Jersey for the next 3 months, so.
Yeah, and then for that period, I would change it at the item code.
Right,
When you
right,
add it
that's
back
what I'm
to the
saying,
PO, it'll
right.
automatically default to the right
Right.
line.
Right, that's what I'm saying,
Yeah.
if you
I
know that
agree with
now they're bringing everything into New Jersey, we just go into the item card, change it, so that you don't have to change it
Yes,
each time.
that's right.
You only change it once.
Right, right, so that it'll automatically default, and then for the exception again, it's gonna go back to the other
Mhm.
one. Well, it is, Lisa, but it'll flow. Alright, so that's where the date was, cause I couldn't remember where the date thing was, for the top thing, okay.
What? Go ahead.
Landed cost group, if you order in bottles, you also need to change that as well. I know you said that you do order in bottles sometimes. So you should have landed cost group set up for the bottle cost, not the case cost.
Now, only if you're gonna change the freight. Some people it doesn't matter if it's a bottle or it's a case, the freight is still,
The freight's
the
the same.
freight's the same.
Oh,
So if
okay.
the freight's the same, don't change it.
Right.
It's only she's saying if you want to change it to a lower amount of freight, but if you're not gonna change the lower amount of freight, you're not gonna touch it.
Right, so domestically, we don't do it.
Yeah.
DI, I already have that broken down to like
Okay.
1.5, 1.8.
So like the Chopin that came in today,
Right,
because they only had 33 cases out of the 200 we ordered,
right,
so it was 16 cases, 6 bottles.
right,
So
But you
the
probably
Right,
freight on
need
the
to
6
make the right
bottles
for
is
that.
gonna be
right, but
something
they
a bottle?
sell to us in 6 packs. We buy from them in 6 packs.
right.
Okay, so it's gonna be a case to them.
Oh,
So
so a
we-
case is gonna be a case now?
A case is a case.
Amazing.
A case is, and that's gonna be the more confusing part for you because you're used to dividing and adding.
It's just gonna do it.
It's gonna do it for us.
So you don't change the price on bottles when you receive them? Period.
It's gonna change it for us. It's
Okay.
gonna know.
On the case pack.
Yeah.
Right.
You said bottles, and I know that you mean 6 bottles, which really is a case.
Right.
So yes,
Yes.
you're right. But if you bought it like 1 bottle of something and you have it a case, you do need to adjust for the 1 bottle.
Right,
But
but
if
to us,
a
freight wise, a case is a case.
A case
If
is
a
a
bottle is a case is a case.
That's right.
Whether it's 1 bottle, 3 bottles, 15 bottles, it's still 48 bottles, it's still 1 case, so it doesn't make, so yeah, domestically, that's why we only have the 2 freight lanes, that's why we only have New Jersey wine, New Jersey spirits, and we don't really need to divide out spirits, but we chose to, because there's no tax difference out of New Jersey. DI there is, but we kept it in uniform with all the DIs, that's why there's a wine and a spirit for both freight lanes. We didn't really need to do it that way, but we chose to keep it in uniform with wines and spirits.
All right. One thing I want to bring your attention down here in the middle where it says PO status, it says new. Anytime that you create a PO, it's considered new. There are 6 different statuses. You really don't need to know these that well, but I just want to explain them to you. New means it's just created. Released means that you printed it. That's all it means. It just takes it from a new status, means it's been released. You've either printed it or emailed it to the client. Next one is change order. If you went in and edited a line on a PO, that line item would change to change order, and the overall status of the PO would go to change order. As soon as you reprint that PO, it goes back to the release status. So it only shows change order that one time. It doesn't stay there. Received, that's obviously when you receive an item. The line items, if you don't receive them all, the line items that received will show received. The ones that aren't will still say released, and the overall PO will still say released until every item has been received. Canceled, that's on the, you can either cancel a PO, or you can cancel an entire line, or you can cancel part of the line. I'll give you an example. If you ordered 50 cases, they only shipped you 45, and they weren't going to ship the other 5, you could go to the PO, cancel those 5, so that that line would be complete.
Right. So what happens is that today when you put the PO in for 200 cases and they only ship you for 34 cases, right? So so that they can see, management can see that we ordered the 200 and they short shipped us, we would receive 34 and cancel the balance so that in history it's going to show, but it's going to make the PO 100% received and not back ordered, right?
Yes.
So you don't have to update them every day when they change the quantities.
Yes and no. Yes, because we're going to need to update the PO so that when the warehouse gets the receiving tickets, they have an accurate number. But like if you didn't know today that they were shorting you and from the 200, then when you went to go receive it, you would receive 34, and you're going to cancel the balance of 144. Okay, you're going to cancel the 144 that didn't come in.
Okay.
You're going to receive the 34, and the PO is going to be 100% complete. If you left it open, it's going to show as a back order, which we don't do.
Right.
Okay.
It would just leave the PO open
Right.
as being unreceived for that
When you
amount.
maintain them every day,
Right.
does that keep the history?
Yeah.
So if you change it from like,
every day. What do you mean?
Well, so today they say we're going to get
no,
200 cases.
not today, like say we ordered 50 and the supply, like Laurent Perrier, just before we came down here, Laurent Perrier, we ordered 15 cases of something. They said, we don't have to stock. You want us to hold it, or do you want us to ship you 7 cases?
Yes.
So I said, send us the 7.
Yes.
So they're gonna send us 7 now.
Yep.
Do I change the PO to 7?
Mm-mm.
Nope, that's what she's saying. When you get the 7, you receive 7, and then you're going to cancel the other quantity.
Oh.
So you can change
No, we can change it in
the
advance.
quantity to cancel. I mean, so like, are the remaining 8, but they're not shipping you, are they gonna ship you it later on the same PO, or are they canceling it? So then what I would do when a vendor short ships me, you would go into this PO and see where Bill goes to quantity to cancel, point to that field, Bill. Second one there. So see how, change your quantity to her example of 16, right? Or 15.
15.
Then you would go to quantity cancel of your 8. And then, so the net difference of what is out there to receive is 7. So that shows I tried to order 15. So in case somebody comes back to you and says, Lisa, why didn't you order 15? If you just change the PO to 7, you're not, unless you make a note, which we have internal notes. I don't know if you showed me, but internal note. But otherwise, do that. And I always use it when the vendor short ships you. The other great thing about this is there's a smart list out there that will show you all of the quantity canceled from, and you can run it by vendor. So let's say you have a goal by that vendor that you're supposed to order so much, and they're coming and giving you a hard time that you haven't met your goal. Run that smart list and say, here's all the cancels. I have. Now, an example of where you want to change maybe the PO quantity is like if the PO, if you made a mistake, you didn't mean to order 15, and they called back and you're like, no, I really only want to order something, then just really change it. Nobody, you're not trying to track it. But if you're tracking it or want some notice of, I tried to order it, they short shipped me, put that cancel in there.
So for a lot of
And
what
that'll
you're
be
doing, you don't need, like, you may not need to keep the record. Like, you could just change it to 7.
Yeah.
Like, Laurent's not making us buy a certain amount.
No, but the Moet.
Right. The Moets, yes. The treasuries, yes. We're gonna need to keep track of, because those are the ones that they come back and say, you didn't hit your goal. And we say, yes, we did, but then we can't find all the emails.
Yeah,
So,
I think it's always nice. Anytime somebody expected you to order something and the vendor wouldn't let you do
like
it.
a wish list. If John
Like
says
a
to me, put in 20 cases and see what they give us. And if they say you don't have anything, your allocation is 0, then I would just cancel that item off of the PO, because
I
it
would
is a
agree
wish
with you.
list.
So then
I don't need to keep the history.
when you do a receiving ticket for Milton,
Right.
It will only show 7.
It only shows 7.
It only shows 7.
I'll leave it this way so we can see it.
for every one of them.
Yeah, for the couple that will change. And some of them will change more often, and some of them don't change more often.
That's what I do for the first half hour I'm here every day, is change all the POs.
Right,
So after you get all the confirmations at night,
right.
so that's what you sit and, well, that's what I sit and do.
We'll show you.
So we would have to change those on all the POs.
Right.
We're
Even
gonna
if you
have to
got
change the
short
quantity.
shipped
Yeah, we're changing it now.
that's what I mean.
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
Yeah.
but
Yeah. We're gonna do exactly the same thing. It's just gonna be, it just looks a little different. But again, if you don't need to keep the history, just change the quantity. So where it said 15, just change it to 7. Like if you didn't need to know that they were shorting us, you don't need to change it, the second line to 8. You can just change the first line to 7, you can change the second line to 2, you can change the third line. So you can just change all the quantities if we're not keeping track. If you need to keep track because of some reason, then for
Usually
one.
it's John saying, I thought I ordered 15.
Right.
I thought I ordered
Right.
this. I thought
Right.
I ordered that.
Right. And so if he wants to keep track of that, then and it's by vendor, like the 3 vendors then we can do it for those 3. But for the majority of what you're ordering, you could probably just go in and change them.
And then if you're not getting it, you just zero it.
Well, you can either, if you're not going to get it, you can either do that or you can change it the whole amount to canceled.
So if you need to keep the history that we
Right.
ordered it and they didn't
Either
ship
way.
it, then you would put 15 on the second line, which means that it would be 0.
If you're not going to if it's something you ordered that you're not going to receive,
I know
you can
get
delete.
aggravated,
No,
but
no,
I
I'm
have
not- no, I'm not
no
getting
idea what this is.
No, I understand that, Lisa. That's why I'm trying to explain it. So that's what you would do. Like if it doesn't make a difference, if you're placing the PO and it's for 15 cases and you're not going to get it and it's not a big deal that you keep the history, then you would put 15 in the next line and it will just go away. Or you can delete the line.
You can delete the line, right?
Okay.
If you don't, if
Kind of the same that we're doing now. The difference is that now we have a little history as to what we ordered and what they didn't ship us. Because right now we have, when we delete the line item or we change it from 15 to 7, we have no reason, like, why did you do that? If you know what I mean? Like we have no backup to go back to.
Emails.
Right.
it's up.
Bill, did you show that internal note next to the PO number? On the note of paper.
Oh, right here.
So you're on the item. Go to next to the PO number.
I'm sorry.
Anywhere in the system where you see that little piece of paper there, it's internal note. Nobody else can see it except you guys, but it attaches to whatever it's next to. So
Write something in it though, that attach.
Short chip.
It doesn't matter. It can be any letters. It just said attach. Down at the bottom. See how it changes from yellow with a little squiggly line?
Mm-hmm.
So that's another great, with all your discussion right there. If you want to make some notes for yourself on there.
Right.
Anytime you pull up this PO, that note's going to be with it, whether it be through another inquiry screen that drills back, but it's only in the system. It's not going to
So
print
you
on the
could read in
PO.
here.
You can, make all your notes that you were just talking about.
Only 7 cases available.
And you can copy and paste in from an email into here. You can do all of that onto there. Again, it's for the whole PO. So if it's, you're doing an item, you can, specifically write something there. But that'll give you where you were talking about.
Any other questions? All right. When you're done, you just click Save. You can close it. Under Purchasing, and if you don't have these options, we'll make sure you're on your screen. Under Purchase Order Transactions, under Purchase Orders Not Printed, that PO is right there.
So these what Bill's in right here is called a navigation list. And we set those up for you to help define your workflow. So right here, it's saying, show me just my purchase orders where the status is new, which Bill explained before, that means it's not printed. So it depends on how you want to do it. If you want to enter one PO and then send it right away, that's great. Or you can enter all your POs, come into here, mark all, and print or email them all at once. You have flexibility
Right, so
to
what's
do
gonna-
either.
So what's going to happen is, you know how this morning you put in 10 POs?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you put in all your POs,
Mm-hmm.
and then you're going to come into here and you're going to click all the buttons on the click.
Just click that top one and it checks them
And
all.
Like them all, all right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to, and then you're going to hit
Print.
print.
Now you have
believe so. Blank is to
Blank will send it
print.
to the printer, and if he drops that down and changes that up there to other, if there's an email address, it will email it.
Okay. So Maureen's put email addresses in to all the vendors. So like Moet, the email address it's going to go to is orders 3, and Kevin's a copy, and I think Nilsa's a copy. Okay. It will not go to them directly. It's going to come to our email. So your POs are going to go to your computer.
They're just gonna pop open.
They're just going to pop open at your computer. They're all going to show in your inbox, and then you can forward them. Or you can send them, or you can add, like you want to add me, you want to add John DiCello, you want to
Or
add
you can take somebody off.
or you can take somebody off, and if there's special notes that you want to write, you type it in like you're regularly going to type it. So I think the email address, I think it says please ship as soon as possible. I think it has the PO number and it has the name. I think that's what we defaulted in your reference line. That's what it's going to show. But so there's already email addresses that are pre-set up that Maureen is assigned according to that list that she put upstairs. So if there's something in there that's typed wrong or it comes back and it doesn't go, we need to let Maureen know. Maureen's going to change the vendor card and then it will show in there. So we don't need to type everybody's addresses in there anymore. So like Moet, we put the 3 of them. I think we put orders 3, Kevin and Nilsa. I don't usually put Manny, but if there's a special order and you need to add Manny there, you add me there. You add John DiCello, John Slocum, whoever you want to, and like you said, yes, you can take them off. But there's a default for each person. Like I don't have the freight forwarders on here. So
And
like
you're not the,
it's gonna come from your email.
so I have to send it to you and you have to send all yours to me?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, yes. I didn't put us on them, either one of us on them as the defaults, because we're not part of
We
the
can
vendor.
do that though.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be on the vendor. Like
Okay.
we can do it in the PO setup itself.
Okay, so
We'll
yeah,
always
Lisa
have
always
you-
copies me, I always copy her, so in case
Yeah,
I'm
it'll
not-
just be on both of you, so
Yeah.
you'll get a copy of both.
Yeah.
But Bill, or Natalie's make a note, but make a note for yourself, because we can do that with form scanner setup, our setup that actually, the same place where you put the default message and everything.
Okay,
You can say, always put these people on it, and that way you don't have to remember to do that.
Okay.
It doesn't have to be in the vendor card.
right, so the other thing is I didn't I didn't for Moet, like I didn't put, or for Capcorp, I didn't put Transo in on it, because sometimes it's just gonna go to Capcorp and sometimes it's gonna go because it's a DI. So I will have to add any freight forwarders to mine, but the basic who it's going to at the vendor side that's in here, and that came from Maureen from the vendor roster that we have.
That's what it would look like, except this one probably didn't have one in there, but who it's going to go to would be right up in here.
Right.
And then you can add or change anything down here you want.
Right. And on the PO, it's gonna come back to purchasing at Slocum and Sons, and that's gonna go to both of us. And we can respond from that email, or we can just go back into our own email, Elavuzzi, and then send them another comment if they have a question.
Well, purchasing is just an email group, so you're not gonna be able to respond.
Yeah, you can. We tried it.
From
You
you.
can. We
You
can.
can say it came from, like even though it's coming from your email, it shows that it came from like a group.
We can mask it.
Yeah, so I did a test when we did the test over to us, and I replied.
It's working.
Receive test,
Okay.
receive test, and then it went to both Lisa and I.
Nice.
Yeah. So we can either keep, but we can't start an email from that address. We can only reply from that address.
But
So-
that's where Corey is saying we can't do something for that. Yeah.
Right.
Do you want to show them the PO?
I'll do it from the other. Well, I can do it from here. It's the same thing. It's just it's a little bigger on the PDF.
Yeah, it's blank.
Oh, there is. You said had nothing on it. There were 2 POs and one was blank. That's right. There's another email out here. There's the other one. That's the one we just did. There we go. You can see there's the line item.
Bill, shrink that up to the same width as what I have here.
So there you can see the header. There's your order dates. It's due ASAP based on what we selected. This ship point and ship via is if there's information in that field on the item card where it has a ship point, that's where that would come from. Right now there was nothing on that.
But there should be, Sherry, that should have data come from round two.
We'll write that down.
That should have data come from round two, because we had all of that filled, we should have had all that filled in.
Okay, should point
Yeah, that's the
and via.
truckers that I had assigned?
Yeah, you did assign,
Yeah.
no, did you assign truckers or did you assign consolidators?
Well,
In the
truckers
freight-
are
in the
consolidators.
freight master? Is that the same thing?
Yeah.
Okay, then you did fill in that.
And the ship point I filled in too.
I'm looking at it right now.
Okay.
Go ahead, Bill.
The broker would be that on the vendor card. If you had another address for broker and that information filled in, that would populate in here. This one didn't have one on there, so, but that's where that would come from. There's your item number, and you can see now the quantity ordered is 7 because we canceled those 8. So this is only what's on order now. 7. There's your bottles per case, bottle size. There's your line item note, and then the extension. Then down at the bottom, you have your total weight and your total dollars. The comments, this is from the vendor. That was from the vendor card. This was the PO note that we put in that's specific to this PO. And then when we went to the other screen, we checked those boxes for ASP, thermal blankets, and that stuff. That all prints right in here.
Alright, so that WPM at the very bottom, that should be a checkbox too. That doesn't need to print on. That should be a checkbox. That should be an option box for us. That shouldn't default to print on
Yeah,
every
that
PO.
wasn't in the list, so we'll have to add it.
Oh, it wasn't?
Mm-hmm.
Did you accept it?
No, that was listed as actual text to put on the PO.
Oh, really?
We can do it, it just won't be there while you're testing.
That's fine.
Just keep that in
Yeah,
mind.
because that's really, that's only applicable. I mean, that's gonna like throw somebody domestically if that like comes there, because it's,
Got it.
sorry.
That's all right.
I didn't pick that up.
That's fine. That's why we test.
Yeah.
And then, of course, down here is just places for people to put information internally for the PO
Right,
when it comes in.
right.
Any questions on that? Now, if I hit refresh, the PO is now gone because we printed it. Even though we didn't print it to a printer, GP thinks that it was printed, so it moved it from there to now to the not received, which is the released status.
Okay.
And there it is right there. Now if you check the box and you go up to the edit purchase order status, this is where you can see it's released. It shows that there was 15 ordered, but you can see there's 8 canceled.
You can also cancel your quantities in this window as well.
Right. You can do it in either place.
Can we do, make a change on that one and show the change order flag?
We'll change this to, actually I can't do it there. I have to do it in the edit purchase order. Say make this 20. And then save it. Now if we go back to edit purchase order status, say it now says change order. In the overall status.
Yep. And when you print the PO again after your change, we flag that something was it changed it, so it shows on the PO itself as a change order.
And then once it's printed, it goes back to released. It only stays change order until you print it.
Can we reprint that one?
I'm doing it as we speak.
Oh, okay.
And that revision date is what should be in there, and it's not coming in.
Right.
And see the asterisk right here? It's kind of hard to see. But right there, that indicates it's a change order. We probably could put that over by the item number instead. But, or I could make it a little bigger. And then it shows you up here that the asterisk is a change order.
Yeah, I would do it by the item number.
Because it looks
I'm
like.
not sure why it's over
has
there.
I don't know why it was there either. I could have swore I put it
Usually
over there.
you put it by the item number. and
Yeah, it's usually right
item
there.
number is fine.
Yeah.
Don't remove that.
No big deal. But anyways, that indicates that line, if there were multiple lines, and this is the only one that changed, the asterisk would be on that line only. And there should have been a revision date there, which is
Right.
the date it was changed.
Right.
So I'll have to look at that too. All right. Any,
Talk about free goods for just a second, just really quick.
Certainly.
So, and we're gonna get to a little bit more of it when we do the receiving and the invoice match, but if you are going to order something and you have to show it on the PO as $0, that's totally fine. Enter it onto the PO, put $0, print it, send it. But you should come back into that PO either immediately or before you receive it and put that cost
We do.
back in. Good.
Right, and so what I've been doing now in the test scenario, so that when Sherry sent over something with dollars that didn't add the first time, I normally leave the no charge until I have the invoice from the vendor and I'm kind of in the stage of almost ready to receive it.
Yes.
That's usually when I'll go back in. But what I've been doing now is as soon as I print my PO, I go right back into it again and I add $83 into it right away.
Okay. Good.
So, so that when she sends her records over to you guys, when you're looking at those two things, the dollars will equal the way that they were, because before what we realized was the no charges didn't have a value. So when you were looking at the two things, her dollars didn't your dollars didn't look right because there was no value for some and there was some. So I've just been automatically going back in. Primarily, I'm the one that usually has more no charge than Lisa will have.
Okay.
But every once in a while, she will have a PO that because we need to build a bank or something like that, that she'll have to put no charge on for. But
So you
95% of the time, I'm using the no charges as opposed to her. But
so you're used to the two free good scenarios of, if I remember correctly, of dividing the cost amongst the total.
right, I'll do that if I'm dropping the price because I don't have a bank, or if I'm building the bank, I receive it and so if it's an $85,
Yes.
I do 85 and 85. If I'm dropping the price, I drop it to 82.50.
Yeah. Got
Yes.
it. Perfect.
Yes.
And then you just put that bank amount in that trade discount and you're good to go.
Right.
We're gonna do that.
That's the
Right,
only
right,
part
right.
that you probably don't do now because you don't really.
Well, I do, but I do it in a completely different
That's
outside
right.
area.
Okay,
But yeah, but
because
now
you're
I
not-
can do it right in the PO because right now we have to have three screens open and we get to receive it first before I can go.
But you do, they're showing you on the PO, we kind of jumped ahead. You really do it on the invoice match side of the world.
Okay.
You don't do it on the PO.
Okay.
It will lose it by the invoice match if you do that. It's
Oh,
all
okay.
done.
Okay.
So you need to do it on the invoice match.
Okay.
But Natalie brought it up because we talk about it during PO. but
Okay. And
we don't do it
I
during
have free goods as part of my samples.
Yes. Okay, good.
PO samples. So
Now, once you've done that and you've printed it, then there's a few reports we can look at. One's called an open purchase order report. And again, yeah. Come on. Open purchase order report.
So you are in data link viewer. So you just go to your reports folder. So you'll have to close out of your bill and go to the reports folder separately.
I am.
No, see how you
Oh.
launched it through data link viewer?
Mm.
Just close this window. Yeah. And go down to your folder at the bottom on your remember from the session that we had on Monday, you have infusion, which is Eagle, but you're also going to have things outside of the system. It's for you guys, it's for your sales management team, so that they don't have to call you all the time to see when something's supposed to come in or what open POs are out there. So Bill went to the reports folder. When you launch Infusion, it just looks like a little yellow manila folder. And in there is a purchases folder that has some interactive Excel workbooks and some of the reports that you can run, like the receiving report Sandy was talking about. This open purchase order Excel workbook that he has launched in the background, this is a great tool for your sales team because it tells you the POs that are out there. We put that promised date in there, and we also put the scheduled delivery date, which is the promised ship date. So they know when you've estimated the delivery will come, and if it's actually been scheduled. Can you see on that first line it says 6/21? So you estimated it on the 15th, they called and actually scheduled it for the 21st. They can open this and see all that information without having to bother you. We also pass that to Pocket Advantage in a column. So they should be able to see at an item level in there when something is scheduled to come
Pocket
in.
Advantage is
What your sales reps use to order.
And if the promised date and the scheduled ship date are the same, it'll say not scheduled.
Basically, they haven't called you yet.
Right.
So you don't need to deal with calls from everyone saying it's not scheduled. You can actually tell them, have you looked at your open purchase order workbook? It'll tell you in there. And there's some nice filters there at the top for them. I'm saying them. You guys could use this too if you wanted to. But so vendor ID, name, class. They can look by product. Look by truck if you group that together on a truck, which we're going to talk about here in a second. So this is a good reporting tool. Nobody can change anything on the original PO. It's look only.
For them.
For them. For you. I mean, this might be a
Right.
This is just a inquiry workbook. This one, which is review POs on trucks, this is where you actually go and change the date.
So anytime you open up any of those Excel workbooks, did you notice how Bill went to the data tab and hit refresh all? That's a good idea to do. It just pulls the latest information from the system. So anytime you open up one of those, data, refresh all. So this is going to hold kind of the same information, except it doesn't detail it out by line, so you can't see the individual items. But this is a great place for you to update that promised ship date, and also update if it's going to be put on a certain truck with a trucking company. So like we have Western carriers in there, but I know you guys have a whole list of them.
I'm going to change it there just so they can see it.
This way you don't have to be in the system, open up the PO, hit the blue expansion arrow next to the date, and type over the promised ship date. If you do it in here, Bill's just going to type in the date there. And in a minute when he hits update truck ID, it does it for you. It pushes that date into the system and updates it already. Same thing with the truck ID there. When he added Western carriers, you can then start grouping your POs together on a truck. And we have a really nice truck consolidation report where you can run and get like the total weight, total cases for everything on that particular truck. Does that make sense? So this is an Excel workbook outside of the system to help with some of your workflow.
See, there it is right now. It says Western Carriers. It didn't before. And under the date, promised dates, now changed to 7/5.
Now, from the walkthrough, I know you guys said you had a list of truck IDs. We can call them truck IDs. And you just give those to us and we'll set them up in the system. Or we can do it during our practice time tomorrow. Because right now that's the only one we have in there. So you probably would like a nice predetermined list, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I thought I had that list.
I'm sorry, what was that?
The truck ID list.
Well, Sherry's swimming in data, so
Yeah.
blame her if she missed
Did
that.
we have a net, do truck IDs?
So that'll default all the suppliers to a trucker?
No,
No.
Oh,
no, it's by PO. So you have at your vendor card, you guys chose to keep a ship point, field, but that's separate from this truck ID assignment at the PO level. Does that make sense?
Oh,
Alright.
so they're assigning the truck ID
To the
when they're
PO.
putting the POs in.
Oh, do you know at the time?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, so then when Bill was entering the PO, can you go back to the PO screen, Bill? If you know right away, when you're entering that PO, just add it to the bottom. And this is where I'm saying, it'd be nice to, we can have a list for you of all the truck IDs available.
So we just need a list of all the trucker names.
Yeah, I did that, okay.
Yeah, you
I
might,
think it's in the freight lane document.
I thought so.
okay.
I thought so.
I can grab the unique values from there.
So yeah, that's
So
why we
it
picked Old
says
Dominion,
Western-
Ross.
it says Western Carriers
Right.
because we get that out of Jersey.
Right, so if it's gonna be it's gonna be Fast Break, it's gonna be DFL, it's gonna be Ross, it's gonna be Garrison, it's
Well,
gonna
that's a
be ABF.
warehouse, Western.
That's a
Western
test.
Carriers.
We
Well,
did that.
that's a trucker
Oh.
too, Western
We did
Carriers
that,
is
so don't
a
get too
trucker
far.
too, I mean, we just picked that one, Western Carriers sometimes will come up and, they'll deliver to us, but, yeah, so it can be anything. It'll be Pace, it'll be
But we
ABF.
assign it.
We're gonna give them a list, if it's not in that one place,
I got it.
Is it in there?
It's in your freight lanes, we just didn't know
Okay.
to look there, so.
Yeah.
Go Sherry. But you still need to pick it, so
Right.
when Bill hits that little looking glass, it'll be that list
It'll be-
and you select.
And it's gonna be alphabetical.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if it's Ross, you're gonna just zip them to the bottom of the Ross, if it's Pace, it's gonna be Pace. The same as what we're doing now, right now we type it, we're just gonna do a drop down.
And then
it's
if you're gonna
populate.
quote it out, just leave it blank until you.
I think we have one in there that says Slocum routes, I think.
You do, there's one called Slocum.
Yeah, cool.
What is that?
Slocum, yeah, when we route it ourselves, we need to
Oh.
know in
Like we'll
advance.
get, like we'll call around and get quotes from different trucking companies,
Yes.
so to see who we want.
So in the first place, yes, you're gonna put Slocum, and then when you know that it's gonna be ABF, you can actually go in there and you can change, you can edit it,
Okay.
and you can put ABF, and then you'll have your trucker assigned.
Yep.
And it'll stay as history, whereas now, we don't usually change it, because you don't resend the BO to somebody, you know what I mean, you don't write, you sometimes change it, so.
I'm adding those in right now, so
Okay.
by the time you guys test tomorrow, they'll be in there.
Okay.
So, for your purposes, if you know the truck at the time that you're entering the PO, then you will only use this workbook to update the promise ship date.
Okay.
Make sense?
One other thing we didn't mention either right here, after you've done some changes, if you click refresh again, you can select truck ID, and only those that are on that one you selected will show here.
Okay.
So in the case where you had all the Slocums, you could select that and this would just show the Slocums. And then you could change you could select a new truck ID right from here.
Can we do the truck consolidation report since we're talking
Mm-hmm.
about that?
Absolutely, that was next.
Can I take a break for a second?
Please.
The coffee.
And I don't think we have much left, because you're going into
Yeah,
receiving
receiving's gonna
next.
be quick.
Yeah, but I mean on this, you're done with PO really.
Oh, yeah. after
Yeah,
this.
'cause it all kinda
But
mixes
you
together.
are receiving.
Yeah, we're here until
Yeah,
4
yeah.
o'clock.
Yeah, we'll take a break in between receiving, but
Okay,
just so you
I just
know,
need to go to
they're
bed.
done.
I try to be. This usually happens. Like it usually happens where it's like, oh, I gave the data person the thing. Like, how did they miss it? It's like you have no idea how much time. Like, have mercy on them.
No, Sandy was super helpful. I gave her the freight lane spreadsheet and she populated it all
That's
herself.
awesome.
I was
That's
like,
great.
you can tell she's very knowledgeable. Yeah,
Love it.
Sandy could train it, man.
I know.
love it. That's good, but I think that's good because you can tell Lisa's been left out of the loop. So
Right.
I think she's going to need Sandy to really.
Right.
But I think that's good. Sandy, I think, has it down, so I feel very confident with Sandy.
I mean, she stops in my office like every day. She's like, I'm gonna do this today and I'm gonna practice that.
That's good.
So she.
Well, I
she
liked
does
it on
a lot.
things that got brought up. She was like, "Oh yeah, that's right." What I love about that is that's like somebody's not like, "I don't ever remember you telling us."
Right.
That didn't happen, so that's a positive.
I'm very lost on this.
Lost on the purchasing club?
The whole thing. Sandy said once,
It's just a lot
she
of
said if you sit,
information.
once you sit through it and do it. I mean, I tried doing a PO, I bought myself out all the time, I don't know how to get back in.
Yeah.
To me, it's just very confusing.
Yeah. I think if you can focus on in the training here, like knowing, okay, well, this is what I currently do. Okay, this is
Well, I just,
where I'm going now.
I
Don't worry
noticed
about
if you hit
inventory.
enter, if you hit enter, you pop out.
Oh yeah,
that I
we
know
can
for a
change that
fact.
for you.
So that I figured out, but I still don't know how to go back in to get to
So we have, you guys have a practice time
Tomorrow morning.
tomorrow morning. And but by the way, if you guys are practicing while we're training on something else, there's two of us. One of us can leave and come sit with you. So really take advantage of the time that we're here to sit with you and start, because it's going to be uncomfortable and it's going to be painful at the beginning. But the more that you get in, even today, like I can see Ashley, her difference between yesterday and today. Every day it gets better. So come stand at the back of the room, and whoever's not speaking, just wave your hand and we will come with you.
But don't lose that momentum for the next 5 weeks, because that's what you have until you go live. We want you to be really
Right.
comfortable. And luckily
Right.
you have
Now
each other.
the confusing
as well.
part was is that I forgot
Yeah.
like some of the things to drop down and where to change things.
Yeah.
So this today, bill tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
And then if we play for the next 2 days,
Yeah.
then you know it'll be it's fresher
Yeah.
to understanding this process again.
Yeah.
For me, this is more a refresher. For Lisa, this is the first time,
That's
so
right.
it's a little harder because for
Yeah.
me, the first time looking at it was very overwhelming
Yeah.
because it's like a lot.
Yeah, but you guys sat in on meetings.
Well, we only
And you watched her navigate.
but yes and no. We actually what we did was we designed it, so there was a lot of
I look
there was
at
much
it, all I
cross-talking.
see are lines and boxes. And I'm not saying it to be, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I see lines and boxes. I wrote down notes and everything, but I'm like, it still doesn't make sense to me.
But tomorrow when you
she
actually
said-
put a PO in,
And then I'm on vacation for a week. After starting Friday, I'm on vacation for a week, so I'm like, this is.
But I think it would be, if you know that you're going on vacation a week, giving yourself or work together and put a schedule in place. Like every day I'm doing 30 minutes to 45 minutes of PO entry. It doesn't matter. I need to do it every day.
and the thing is you can be on the phone with confusion. Like after you put the first PO in as test and it doesn't make sense.
You guys
You
are
can be
coming
on the
back
phone.
when we go live, right?
Oh yeah.
Oh.
Yeah,
But-
but you can be on the phone with them when you come back from vacation and say, I need you to help me walk me through the first purchase order, and they'll mirror you, and you can do it, and you
But
can talk to them.
I think also your goal, yes, that's true. We want to mirror you and do that, but also you need to, to the point of why they put Sandy in all those meetings and not both of you, obviously, so your department didn't stop. But then the point was Sandy was to help you as well. So when you start going through all the information that Sandy's been able to, soak in over the last part that you got left out of, now is Sandy's time to help you kind of get through that initial part. So always the key is repetition, repetition, repetition. It will get better. If something is overly annoying, like I don't feel like I should have to click here, 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 and here, bring that up. And if Sandy doesn't know any different, then bring it up to us, because a lot of times it might be, well, if you just do this button instead, you wouldn't have to click here, 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 and here, and you just didn't know that.
Right. That's the reason
Or it could be something clunky that we are like, you know what, that is really stupid.
stupid. Let's figure out a better way to do that. And sometimes there's not a better way to do it. And we'll let you know that.
Right, that's why I
Hopefully
said to you,
there's
write down all your questions, because when you asked me a question yesterday, I was like, you know what, I don't remember seeing that. So,
No,
because-
that was on the PO
right,
screen.
so,
Yeah.
so a lot of it is so like I wrote down my own questions, and I think that some of the questions I wrote, we actually answered today.
Good.
So I'm not gonna even ask them tomorrow, so I think that, I answered some of them, like, where is this and where is that, because it was just remembering. But it's just, yes, it's gonna be the repetition of doing the whole thing.
Mhm.
Okay. So now we're gonna build the load?
Just the truck consolidation report. I wanted you to see that. And that's in the same folder, purchases, under reports, purchases, and it's called truck consolidation report. And this will show you all the POs that are consolidated by the various carriers.
All right, now we actually build those. Our warehouse does not do that. We do that in purchasing.
Well, this isn't anything they're going to update. This is just a report.
Okay.
And you have the option to put in a date range. I just put in from June 1st to June 20th first, just to make sure I get everything.
Okay.
And here you would select your carrier. So I'm going to select Western Carrier. I'm going to say OK. And this will show me that for the Western Carrier, this is the only PO on there right now. If there were more, they would all be listed here.
So Pace is going to show there. Pace is going to be one of the ones.
Mhm.
So it's going to show the same as that purple folder we have upstairs. Pace is going to show every single PO that's in here. This is going to be the same thing that's in your purple folder. Okay.
We're not printing POs anymore?
We are, but this is going to be a quick lookup to see if you're missing one that's in the system, or this is going to show us. This is going to show us if we've consolidated it.
Right.
Okay.
If you've added it to a truck.
To a
So
truck.
the trucker is at
Okay.
the bottom, it's gonna show you every PO that truck comment, that's all it's doing.
Okay.
So, nothing magical, you would still update the comment, the trucker, just like Bill showed before on that update PO truck. So that's just a report you can print if you wanted to. If you don't wanna print them a report because you copied them on the email, don't worry about it. But this is a nice way, if you were trying to hit a target of a weight, target of a case, you could run this and you could see all the POs I have on there. If I had 10, what's my totals? That's all. Okay, any questions on that?
Okay, the next thing is receiving. And receiving is just as easy as doing the PO. Might even be easier. So you select the PO that you want.
First of all, we're in that POs not received. So
Right.
just Bill's already kind of explained that, but just so that you know, when you first enter a PO, as a reminder, the status at the bottom is new. When I print it or email it, or print it to screen, doesn't matter, it will register as released. That's where it thinks you sent it to somebody. Now, it could be you printed it up on your own screen. Well, it doesn't know that you're not going to send it to the printer. So it thinks you sent it out in the world. So it goes to what we call released. If you go in after the PO has been done, when we went in and did that 15, and Bill had the little star next to change,
Yep.
if you go in and change it, it will go to a status of change order. Once you print it again, like we did, it'll go back to the status of release. So release means I've sent it out. Change means I made something since I sent it out. Going back to release means I've sent it out again with all the changes. Again, whether you do it to screen, whether you do it to printer, doesn't matter.
But you have to. So change. Can you release an order in change, or do you have to actually? You can.
Well, it goes from released. If I make modifications, that's change
Right.
order, and then as soon as I print it again, it's going to go back to release.
But what if I don't print it again?
If you don't print it again, it's fine. You can receive it at change
Okay.
order.
Okay.
You don't
That
have
was
to.
my question. I
Yeah.
just
No.
said it wrong.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
you're fine.
Okay.
Yeah, you don't have to have it there. It
Okay.
has to be in a status of either released or change order
Okay.
for you to be able to receive it. So if I have never printed it and it's a brand new PO, it's not gonna let me receive it because it doesn't think you really sent it anywhere.
Okay.
You know, so it's gonna want you to release that.
Okay.
Now I will say there's a shortcut to that. When you enter a PO, if you go up to the actions button at the top, I'll have Bill show that when he pulls up one here. It will let you go ahead and receive it immediately because it knows you want to go ahead and do it. But you have to do that on a by PO basis.
Okay.
Normally, receiving in your process, you would print it or send it somewhere,
Okay.
and then you'd be able to do it.
That's where it
there's
is,
the
right.
Action, and when I'm doing a new PO, even if it was brand new as a status, it would still let me do the receiving. I would choose to do it, but you can close that one. Now, on the receiving thing, Bill is picking here from the navigation list. So this navigation list, what's nice is it shows me everything that's been released or change ordered because we assume the next step you want to do is receive it. So that's why they're all gathered here in this nice list for you. So these are all the POs that I have open, ready to be received, you know. So from here, you could pick that PO like Bill's going to do and just hit receive. And it's going to start the whole window for me. There's other ways to do it too. So when Bill goes through here, just close that, Bill.
Can you run that by, all right, so this is every open PO.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, can you change the perimeters and that date to only today?
Change that perimeter.
See where it says date, it has the 15th, the 15th,
That's
the
the
18th,
PO
the 19th. Oh, that's the PO date, okay.
That's the PO date. So, I mean, you could sort it by it, and you can also change the filter if you just want to see POs for today. You can sort from any of those top columns. I'm not sure why, why you want to see PO dates only of today, but.
No, not for, like, the ones that were coming in today.
Oh,
Like-
no,
No.
not in here. No, as far as the promise ship date, you're
Right.
saying no, it
Okay.
doesn't let you
Okay.
enter that.
Okay.
from here.
Okay.
So from here, the other option to do, let's say, go up to transactions, Bill, and purchasing, receiving, transaction. So from here, now I'm in a receiver. I can do two things. I can either, Bill, click on the receipt number so it defaults. See where it says auto receive at the top? Bill's gonna have that. I can hit that. Go ahead and hit it, Bill. And I can type in a PO number here instead of picking it from my list that I had in before. You can hit cancel on that. Or I can type in a vendor, hit cancel, Bill. On vendor number, I can type in that 506 as an example.
Oh, yeah, I see it.
And I can do auto receive from here. And see how it shows me multiple POs to the left? I could pick multiple POs at the same time to receive, So there's several ways to get there if you were wanting to do receiving because you wanted to combine certain things together or stuff like that. If you're doing a PO by PO receipt, the easiest way to get there, go ahead and close on this, Bill, is where we were at the beginning. So I'm at my navigation list, and I'm going to pick one PO, and I'm going to say receive it. And then it's going to auto default to every item that's on that PO. Now, Bill just picked one PO with one item on it. If it had multiple there, I don't know, do you have one with multiple
Yep.
items, Bill?
Mm-hmm.
There we go.
Oops, I didn't mean to do that.
Bill's going to click this one. And he's going to receive. Now, notice it had multiple items here. Now, it's auto-checked to say, I'm assuming you're going to want to receive all of these. You don't have to, though. He can uncheck certain items that he doesn't want to receive.
Oh, gotcha, okay.
Okay? Now, there's another place on the window we're going to go to next that will also let us do that. Now, before you hit that, Bill, just wait. So, on like that second item, Bill, see where it says quantity shipped? Nope. Go over.
Oh, there it is.
So, quantity shipped, right now it's saying 36 or whatever is there. I can change the quantity right there if you didn't get all of it. So if you want to do a partial receipt, you can do that as well. So if I receive 15 instead of 36,
If I haven't done what we talked about earlier on the PO, it's gonna leave that remaining amount open. Now I'm gonna show you where to cancel it after the fact if you want to. But this is gonna leave the remaining open, assuming like maybe you're gonna ship the other 15 later, you know. Or I can cancel it later. I don't have to go back to the PO to cancel it. I can cancel it in another window. So, but you can change the quantity here, or you can change the quantity in the next window. I'm gonna show you. But go ahead and change that to just like.
I changed it to 300.
Okay.
It was 336. I changed it to 300.
Oh, okay.
So there's some left over.
Yeah, perfect. So you can hit receipt. Now everything that Bill checked in that first window as to which items I want to receive are now into this window. So all of those items are here, and I can choose from this window on that quantity shipped. See where that is, where he put 300. I could have changed it here as well. Either doing it in the very first screen or doing it here does exactly the same thing. It's just lowering the amount of what you say has been shipped to you.
Okay.
Now, going at the top here where it says vendor document number, a lot of people put in the bill of lading number if they give you a bill of lading number.
Or the container number.
Yeah, or the control number, something to that will reference the receiver. We're not doing the vendor invoice yet. That's the next step. This is just the receiver that I'm doing.
I'm gonna send it to the receiver.
Yeah, the receiving of so they delivered it to the warehouse. They've given you something typically. I know not everything comes with something.
Right, but like a container that came in from Italy, I would have a container number. I can put the
You
container
can
number.
put the container number there.
Mhm.
Yep. So you can just fill in any random number, Bill. Most of the time, the stuff that you're looking for on the receiver, receiving entry here, it's just the quantities. You're making sure the quantities are right. You're making sure that, there's nothing crazy. And again, this is real case quantities, not, you don't do any funny math. This is your purchasing cases.
Okay, so for instance, we're gonna make believe like the last Mianetto Dolce is a vintage item, okay? And they came back and said to me, it's not 2015, it's 2016. Can I add a line item here now?
You can, but this is the only negative to doing that to the receiver. Does GP allow you to do that? Yes, you have no problem. Where it comes into play, sometimes that most of my wine and spirits don't do that, is your state reporting. State reporting, a lot of times they want that PO number to tie with your invoice number for your state reporting side. So a lot of times people still go and add it back to the PO and then do it. So if you knew an item had changed, most of my distributors, Sandy, what they do is edit the PO first, and then they go and do the receiving. Now, could you go in here and type in that item number? Yes, GP will allow you to do that. It doesn't make you go back to the PO to do that, but most people typically edit on the PO, then do the receiving. So if it was a wrong item or whatever, before you'd even start the receiving process, you'd edit that PO.
Okay.
Then you go in there and do the receiving. Only
So
because
I would edit the PO, I would refresh it. It would show as changed.
You don't have to refresh it.
It would
It'll
show as
just do it.
changed, and then I would come into the receiving piece of it,
Yeah.
and then I would
Then
receive
you
it.
would do it. Yeah. Now, let's say here's another good example I get from some distributors. Let's say you received already all of that PO, like you received it all, and then they found 3 cases of something that they didn't tell you about. They're putting it away, and they later call you and say, "Oh, we've got 3 cases. You want to receive some more, and you've already closed that PO." It's not going to let you, if you've received all of the PO, it's not going to let me go back and receive more after that PO is closed or fully received. So what most people do is they put a PO number in the system with a -1 or -2 or whatever.
So I can't
And then
change
it created ad hoc that item for 3 more cases, and then they receive that. Does the same exact thing because on the invoice match side they can combine multiple POs together to invoice match, so it's not a problem. It's just an additional something. So
So
for
we can't
some
go back
reason.
in, we can't go back in and
Only
change
if
and adjust
something
the
is
purchase.
something is still open. So like if you left a whole line, like we did right now, we have that 30 something cases open on this PO. I can 100% go back to that PO and make changes because the whole PO isn't closed. I'm going to show you that next.
Yeah, no, we
But
would've
if
received it.
for some reason, you know, you went ahead and did this receiving process and everything was received out, it's not going to let you go back and start editing that PO. It's done. You finished the PO.
Okay. Can you unreceive a PO and then
You can
re-receive
do a PO return. Yeah.
a
so
complete
your PO
return?
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
then you can
Return
re-receive
it.
it then.
Yeah, it will return it back, and then you can re-receive it.
Right. So you could return it.
And you can
could
return
edit
the
it,
line item.
You could return it. You could edit it and then re-receive it.
You can return it. I think you have to create a new PO after that point, right, Bill?
Either that or they add a line to the PO.
Or add a line.
Add a line.
Yeah, I think, but it'll open it up to let him add back a line. Yeah, I think you can do that.
Okay.
Okay, so once you made sure all the quantities match, all you're going to do here is you're going to hit post. Post is our final thing to say, I'm done. I've received it all. I know the quantities match. You're sure it's okay. Now, if for some reason you want to save that to a batch, and a batch is just a way to save transactions, you know, together so you can review them for later, you can do that. Otherwise, you just hit post and you're done. So it's one step, easiest part there. So you
Okay.
hit post.
And will a report print that we received it?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Oh, looks like we're missing some distributions there. We'll check that out.
Oh, come on. Oh, I know why.
You can, no, you don't need to do that though.
You can't do it at the distribution. You have to do it by line.
Well, just save this one. Don't go through that.
Alright.
There's something wrong with that. We need to check those accounts. We'll check your accounts. Those accounts should fill in. You shouldn't have to go there.
Is that the GL accounts?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It's just not set up somewhere. So we'll check that.
Maybe the accounts are there and they just didn't roll them down yet.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe.
Now, the one thing I want to show you is go to your edit purchase order status. So this little window, edit purchase order status, is going to show you the status of each line item. Now, if Bill was able to accomplish that receiving, what we would have seen is each of these line items, besides the one that he had not fully received, would have been changed on the status. So they all would have said received, except the one where there's 30-something cases open, and it would say released still. So it doesn't say partially received, but if I expand that line item, Phil, it would show me how many had shipped and how many had been, on order. Now, if you want to cancel the remaining, because I remember I had 30-something cases left, and let's say they're not going to, ship those other 30-something cases. You can come into here and do the cancel. You can do it on the PO as well. Both boxes go to the exact same end. So canceling that will cancel the remaining quantity.
So I would type 36 in there.
Yep,
Okay.
you would. And again, you could do that exactly where we did in the first step on the PO. It does the exact same thing. This is just a way not to go into the PO. It's just called status. Now, what is nice about this window versus going to the PO is if I want to cancel the whole PO, but I don't want to necessarily delete it and get rid of it because I want some record that I did it. You can go up to the top here where it says purchase order status. That is the status of the whole PO, and I do have a choice to cancel it all if I wanted to. But again, you can do each individual line item if you needed to do that and move it. So that's sometimes a nice view to see, do I have anything open? Can I change it? You can close that.
Okay, so before we went to go receive this, did we did we print a sheet for the warehouse?
Yeah, there's a pre-receiving report.
Yep. Oh, did we?
No, we
No,
got waylaid
you
there.
don't wanna open it through that.
Is that I thought it was a.
No, go to your reports folder from the bottom. Purchasing. Your pre-receiving report.
Yeah, because it's a doesn't want to open from here.
No, just pick data link.
Oh, there it is.
Change president.
Right, because we're gonna still supply the warehouse with a pre-receiving report.
Yep, and that's gonna serve as their put away ticket and as,
That's where they're gonna verify vintages, case quantities. So if we knew, Lisa, that they were supposed to ship us 10 cases and the warehouse came back and said that they only shipped us 8 cases, theoretically, we could leave that line item open, receive 8 cases, leave the 2 open, so that we could go in and we could adjust the purchase order later on as opposed to canceling. Like if we knew that they shipped us 10 and the warehouse keeps telling us that they only counted 8. So instead of receiving it at 8 and canceling the 2 cases, we could leave the 2 cases open until they came back and said, oh look, we did find the 2 cases. Because otherwise we'd have to generate a new PO for those 2 cases if we received the PO complete. Because sometimes we know when we know that they counted wrong.
We always know when you have.
So we could keep it open. You know what I mean? We could keep it open because right now we can go in and do an adjusted purchase order, but this isn't going to allow us to do that. So we can actually keep a line item open and then go in and cancel it.
So this is your pre-receiving report. This will show them the PO and the items that are on it. And we just put this legend in here. This will only appear if the item was out of stock before you received it. Some people, they like to know that, especially if they have back orders out there, they like to know that there's nothing in stock before this came in. And they know that they need to bring it in quickly. But then here's where the warehouse would write in the quantity received. And they could write on here any notes that they wanted. You know, could damaged cases, seals broken, whatever. And then you would receive it in, and then you could return it.
Okay, so right now, Holly, the warehouse has a spot on our receiving tickets that they date it, and they're supposed to date it, and the person who counted it, initial it. There's nothing on here that they're going to initial.
Oh, we can just tell them.
Initial it, and then we can just initial our initials when we. Okay. I mean, that's what we do now, so it's not.
Yeah.
Because I'm assuming you probably use this to actually do your receipt from.
Yeah. They'll put in 60. They'll put in like if the first line item we said that there's 60 cases, and they write back and they might write that 64 cases came in. So that's where we would go in and we would change the PO, or they would write 56 cases and we have the invoice for 60, and then we'll go back to them and say to them, you need to count this again because the invoice says 60 cases. So just recount the pallet again and make sure that it wasn't 60 in as opposed to 56. So it's a double check system for the 2 of us.
Right.
A lot of times there's a counting error on the Spirit side of it because of the way that they come in, but because of the way that we're going to purchase versus receive, they're going to be counting a case as a case. So if it's 36 packs, they're going to count 36 packs. So it's not going to be like, does this one divide? Does this one add?
They don't have to worry about it.
Count every case as a case.
Yep, they don't have to worry about it anymore.
It's gonna be beautiful.
It's going to be confusing for the beginning because we're so used to, thinking one way that,
Having to do the math.
So I think you have to unlearn what you've been doing.
right.
In some cases, yes.
Yeah.
In other cases, it's just you're putting the same data in a different place on a different screen,
Right.
but it's the same information.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. So now from New Jersey, we will put, sometimes we'll receive 1 purchase order, okay? And sometimes we'll receive 10 purchase orders. How do we build a load?
What do you mean build it? Like to receive them all at once?
How do we, yeah. Like if, so Pace is our trucker, and we're gonna put through 10 POs. You know, we put through 20 POs today, and tomorrow 10 release that we've instructed Pace to go down to New Jersey and pick up.
Yeah.
And so right now we type in 10 different PO numbers, and then we print the receiving ticket.
Yeah.
Okay.
Those are all in one truck though.
Correct.
So isn't truck
This
ID
report you can select by the carrier. Only those POs will show up.
Okay, and then we can check
which
box
ones.
which ones are coming in.
Mm-hmm.
And then this report will print for each PO.
Yeah. Can you open the pre-receiving report?
Yeah.
Just make sure we're all on the same page.
Yeah.
Yes. So if you group that onto Fast Track or whatever. What was it?
Fat Pace, I said, but there's nothing assigned to any of these. So Western Carriers was the only one you had in there. So.
I've added more.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So under, yes, there. That would be your list.
Okay.
Pick that.
So everything under Western Carriers is going to show up,
Mm-hmm.
and then we can pick the POs that we want. We tick box them, and then
You're talking about, so that's the report. Then you're talking about inside of Infusion, right? To actually do the receiving.
to print the receiving ticket to the warehouse.
Then you're gonna pick the truck ID, and you'll want to do. You don't have to pick the individual POs. If you pick the truck, you've grouped all those POs onto the truck. You just pick the truck ID and the
Yeah, but
date.
sometimes
No,
all of them
yeah.
aren't, no. So sometimes all of them aren't available.
Okay.
So sometimes in the morning, they'll call up and say, we have a bunch of stuff down there, you know, there's like 600 cases, you want me to do a swoop. And he'll just pick up everything that's down there that's available, and then
Oh.
it gets delivered the next day. So when I come in, I take everything that's on the sheet that the trucker gets, and that's my consolidation, and it's coming in the next day.
Okay.
See, the stuff that's coming out of New Jersey is less visible because it's more instant on.
I got you.
The stuff that's coming out of California, it takes 8 days to get it to me. So my consolidator in California is building the load, kind of the same as what you told me that I can do. I don't have the weight
I
that
got
we have in the system isn't estimated still.
Yeah.
And because we can only load 42,000 pounds in a container, I load it to the maximum of 41,900 pounds.
Yeah.
So if it's actually coming in, so we classified as 36 pounds, but it's really 35.12. Well, that makes a big difference. I might be able to put 14 more cases in that container.
Yeah.
So I wait for her to get her actuals in.
Mm-hmm.
She inputs into her spreadsheet
Which
the actual
ones
weights.
are going to be on it.
Right, and
And
then
then
she,
you
and then,
pick
and then,
those.
right, and so on a daily basis, I look at an Excel spreadsheet that they put together, and I build the load and say, okay, this is good to go now,
I gotcha.
and then I know what POs I'm going to put in. So, but I might have 30 purchase orders to fast break in California
Yeah.
at any one given time.
Yeah, so you can use either the truck or pick the
Right.
individual POs.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I would pick the truck and then click on the ones that I want.
In addition to, yes.
Yeah, because it's going to narrow it
You
down.
have to
So
pick the truck.
No, you don't have to. But if you
You
wanted
could,
to,
you could just do open POs and like open Jersey POs and just pick them out of there.
That's at ship point.
Yeah.
I don't think we have ship point on there as a
Mm-mm,
parameter.
it's not.
So you would just
So
pick case. You know which ones.
And then you just have to pick out which ones you're getting the next day, and that's how you build your load.
If you've been good about updating that promised ship date, technically you could just run this report and in that enter expected ship date, say, tell me everything that I said is coming tomorrow. And I'll just do other.
Okay.
Look at today, how Soraya showed up, but it wasn't on the
Right,
report.
right. So that way you would just print that one anyhow, because that's going to happen.
So if you're good about your dates,
But
Your dates.
out
If
of
there's
40 purchase orders that we
exceptions,
received today, you missed one that you didn't know about because it wasn't on yesterday's report. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So we could have picked today's date and 40 receiving tickets would have printed as opposed to us putting in 40 POs.
Yeah.
'Cause right now we type in 40 POs, we hit F4, we hit print, and it prints them, and then we put them together.
yeah,
So
if you're better about your dates, do your dates. Because then that'll flow through.
right.
Cool.
Right, and we do the dates just so that everybody, like the sales force knows, and it's, you know, like today we got some stuff from South Africa that came in and it was out of stock on.
Yeah.
So like John Slocum said, I don't care what comes in, like that one needs to get received. I really like that one to be received because we've been out of stock on it.
Yeah.
So.
Cool. Yeah. Good.
Okay.
So you know what that report is. I'm not going to rerun it.
All right. This is like this is new. So it's going to just be a little. And both of us have file folders. So once I get the practicing and then I start to build and then I can print the sheets and then
Yeah.
I can
Define your flow
Right.
in your mind.
Mark on your notes. We need to look to see if account numbers were entered and if they were rolled down. Because they're,
AP.
well,
the
the
GL numbers.
GL numbers, they're not showing up on the items.
Yeah, I just emailed Melissa about that today. So
Okay.
I will.
All right.
Thank you.
Because we tried to receive a PO and it was missing the inventory account.
So the other thing, Lisa, is that based off of that estimates of freight that we're doing out of New Jersey, $3 is the freight that we're using. So when we went and received it, it's automatically going to receive it at $3 per case. And if we find out that that's not what we want to do, then that will change. But for right now, we predetermine what it is. So like if I know that I'm receiving something out of Italy that's a 750, I have that item number is assigned to IT wine 4.5L because it's not a 9 liter, it's only a 4.5 liter. And then to each of those items and to the freight lines, I assign all of the GL accounts to each line item behind the scenes, which I have 3 different ones assigned to.
Don't worry about it, Bill. Do you have other receivings posted?
No.
Oh, okay.
That's why I was doing it, so I could post it.
Okay, so just go to distributions at the bottom.
It won't let you do it. You have to do it by line. Oh, maybe it will. I don't know. If I try to change that,
Just give it
you cannot change the purchasing account. You have to do it at the.
So go back into the line.
Yeah, that's.
Just tune out right now.
Okay.
Yeah. Make sure you do it on, oh yeah, both of them. So you guys went through the actual receiving, tagging the vintage.
We didn't
tag
tag.
in the vintage.
Okay,
We haven't posted this one yet, so we can still do it.
okay.
So I know. Okay, so I know that today I received some Obiqua wine from South Africa, and we don't issue a new item number because it's a really cheap wine.
Yep.
For every vintage, but we do in the system identify what vintage it is.
Mhm.
Okay. So they told me that the 300 cases that I was receiving, I had in the system that it was a 14-15 or 15-16.
Yes.
And today they told me that what I received was 17, so my vintage split is 16/17.
Okay.
So what I do before I receive it is go into the item maintenance, item master. I change the vintage to 16/17 and the case in the bottle.
Yes.
Oh, I forgot to tell Sherry and Patty that one. I'm talking out loud. And then, so when I go to receive it, it receives in the system data history 16/17.
So this is going to be a little different.
Okay.
When you do the receiving, so in the screen that Bill's on, at the item, you go into this blue expansion arrow, and we're utilizing a field called that BOL, bill of lading. Put the vintage in there. This is going to do 2 things. Number 1, it's going to automatically tag the layer of inventory that you are receiving as that new vintage, and when you start to sell out of it, people are gonna get a notification, hey, you're now selling the 2017 vintage, you just finished the 2015, 2016. The second thing it's gonna do is it's automatically gonna update the item card for you. So as soon as you start to sell into that vintage, because you might still be selling 15, 16, so you don't really wanna update the vintage just yet.
Right.
As soon as you start to sell into it, we update the item card to say, okay, now we're selling 2017.
Because it knows that you only had 35 cases of the 15, 16.
And it knows when it's gone.
And it knows that 300 cases that came in today was 2017, so when the 30 cases are gone, it's gonna automatically switch to the 17.
Yep.
Okay. This is for something that's not vintage specific.
You got it.
Okay.
Yep. If you are keeping
BOL equals
separate
vintage.
SKUs for vintages, which you do on some items, you don't do this.
Yeah, there's not very many items that we do this to. I mean, we do the yellowtail, the obliqua, some of the really. Yeah.
Now, on all of your receiving reports as well, so we did the pre-receiving report, but we're going to show you receiving reports after this. We show all that on there too. The vintage.
Okay.
So I'm going to take this out so I can post it from here. And you're going to get reports that pop up, and you can keep them for now and then determine later which ones you want to keep and which ones you don't. We can either turn them on or turn them off.
While you are testing tomorrow, print off this first one and give it to Wally. He needs to verify that all the GLs are going where he wants them to go.
Okay.
Are the GLs on this? If you scroll down, Bill, make sure I didn't say that wrong.
They may not be on this one.
I might have lied. You might need to do the second one.
Yeah, I think it's the second one. This is the detail for each line.
Yeah, so not the first one. Go ahead and close that. There you go. This is the one that you're
This shows the actual account numbers.
Now, like Bill's saying, you're going to get I think there's 4 of these.
I think there's 4 of them, yeah.
We don't need to keep those on forever. We leave them on while you're testing. Look at them. Maybe you like them. Like that first one you might really like. But everything in the system can be reprinted. So if you're comfortable going paperless, tell us to turn them all off. And then you just need to reprint things if you need to see that information again. But everything is kept historically, so you don't really have to.
All right.
Will they automatically print, or do we have to go in and ask them to print?
You have to ask them to print.
No, and that's after it's received?
Mm-hmm.
And where do you go to do that?
It pops up automatically. After you hit post, it says, that's like your queue of, yep, you just posted it. Here's everything you just did.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
so
once
you
the
just hit.
once the reports pop up, that means posting is finished.
Okay, so if you just F4 it will just print. That's our F4 is
Yes,
print.
well, you
Okay.
hit print now. You hit
Okay,
print.
okay.
You can reprint them if you don't
Okay.
save them, but
Okay.
all right. So that's receiving. Now, one thing I wanted to show you, now that we've done this, we've received this one. We're going to edit purchase status. See how the ones that are received are now showing received,
Oh, gotcha.
and the one that we received only 300 of the
Of the
336.
Uh-huh.
See, it still says released,
Okay.
and the overall PO status is going to say released.
Okay.
It goes to the lowest level of the of whatever item is still there,
Okay.
and it'll be
So
there.
we know that we're definitely never going to get that in. Can we go in now and change it to
Canceled?
cancel?
Sure, right there.
36, right?
Yep.
Or if you're going to cancel the whole line, you just change that drop down and change it to cancel. So like if you're not going to receive anything of what you originally ordered.
Right. No, but we received 300 cases of the 336.
Yep.
I want to cancel the 36 cases off of it to make the PO completely received.
So once you do the invoice match, then and it's complete, the PO will automatically close because every item has been accounted for.
Okay,
If you did not cancel those 36, the PO would have stayed open.
okay,
Does that make
Okay.
sense?
okay. So I need to change it here before I go to PO match. Because at PO match, it wouldn't match.
Well, I mean.
Well, you can still do it
match
afterwards.
what you've received.
Yeah, you're only going to invoice match what you've received, so the PO is going to stay open.
Oh, right. it
You
would
could
be,
go
right,
back
right,
into
right,
the
right,
PO
right,
and change
right. I
it.
received the 300, that's what they invoiced me, was 300, right.
You could go back after the fact and still
Okay,
change
okay.
the, because the PO is still open.
Okay,
One thing when you change stuff here, like I just changed this, you don't just X out of it, you have to click process.
okay,
And when you do that, it'll close that window and it'll go to the screen. It's going to actually show you what happened.
Again, that's one of those ones, look at it while you're testing, and then after that, you don't have to look at it if you don't find it valuable.
See, it went from released to change order, canceled 36, so now it's showing received. Instead before, remember, it was just showing released. If we go back in there now, I think there's 2 reports. Yep, 3. We go back in there, look at that same line item. It now says received, but it's now showing the 36 as canceled. That process actually updated the PO.
okay,
So you typed in the 36 and you processed it. Now the system says, okay, now
now your PO's received.
now that it's received, I'm not going to receive anything else.
Okay,
And the PO shows change order because we made a change. If we reprinted it, that change order would go away.
okay,
But until every line item on that PO has been received, it's still going to show, even if I hit refresh, PO is still there somewhere. And there it is.
nope, me and Otto.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's a big one, that third one. up
There we
there.
go.
Yeah.
There we go. So it's still in there under the not received because there are some items that have not been received. So when you go to invoice match it, what normally happens if you receive every item on the PO, it then moves the status to received and they show up in here. And then here you could click on it and do invoice match. Because it's not totally received, you'd have to do it from this screen. And you'd have to pick that one and then say invoice match. And the only items that are going to show up on there are the 4 that we received. The ones that we received. Nothing else is going to show up.
Before we do invoice match, did you do the sales receiving reports?
No. Oh, the salesman's one? No. Mm-mm. Yeah, there's several reports. Actually, I'll go here because this is the way they did it. Receiving report detail by PO.
This one will be for you guys. This is not for your sales team. This has your gallons at the bottom of it. So this one, usually people like to, you do your pre-receiving report, which goes to your warehouse, they fill out what they've received, they send it to you, you do the receiving in the system, and people like to print this out. You don't have to, it's always available historically. And that's where your total gallons are gonna be, and it details out, you can kind of see out your landed cost total on there as well. Yeah, I know you have something
Oh,
similar
there
to
it is.
this right
Okay.
now, right? As kind of like a final, make your little packet at the end? Nope? Okay.
Not with gallonage on it, no.
Okay.
It only shows, no, it just shows the item number, the vintage, the product, the FOB, the laden cost, and the
So this one is really handy, especially it's going to be good for like at the end of the month when you have to report your purchases to the state.
Jessica does that.
Yeah, that state report should tie to this. So everything's like a big circle.
So would we print this report and attach it to?
You don't have to. No, they have their own state report for purchasing.
Okay.
So again, if you don't see any value of this, what do you do when a PO is done? You just file it
If
away?
we receive it, it's a warehouse receiving. It's a receiving report. It's called.
It's a receiving report, we don't show any, no FOBs on it, nothing like that, because then if the salesperson leaves.
No,
that
this,
person
no,
account-
for what goes to Jessica. It's,
It's just.
it's the
receiving.
inventory receiving report, and it's got the item number, it's got, the size, the description, the quantity, if there's a DA in it, the FOB cost, the duty, all of our lading costs, and then the total.
GP.
Yeah, there's no gallonage on this at all. It just shows the total value.
I
the
think
total
this
percent.
is gonna be like your replacement for what you give to Jessica.
Okay.
Yeah.
This report.
Yeah,
This is
it's just
what
that this
we'll attach to
includes
that.
gallonage, that's all. Sounds like it's the only thing different, this includes gallonage.
Cause right now, our received amount matches our invoice amount.
Well, it does, yeah, sometimes it does.
Yeah, so I mean, same thing there. Your total quantity received, that's what Jessica knows she has to invoice match.
Total quantity received.
It's right next to extended costs. Can you have your, yeah, there.
This isn't the one that we were just doing,
No,
this is
no,
a
I
different
know
one,
that.
but
If you find while you're testing this is too much information, let us know. We'll cut some of the fields out.
So this one doesn't have
GPs. No.
GPs on it.
Oh,
Or
yes.
DA amounts on it.
Now DAs,
That's how Patty checks it to make sure that the pricing's proper.
we can add that onto there. The only question there, so that pulls in like the pricing. What pricing of what month are you pulling? The current month's pricing that you receive it in?
The GP is based off of that true receipt.
Yeah, but GP, so it's, you have cost on here because we're talking about purchasing.
Right, the cost is that receipt.
And then price, that pulls from this month's pricing
The
that they
pro-
posted
no.
to the state?
Yeah, yes,
Okay.
yes.
Okay, we can add that onto there.
Yeah, the price is what's in the book. It shows GPs and it shows if there's a DA. So this shows SPAs, which would be okay because sometimes I do have an SPA for one item that I buy. I actually put the SPA right. I have to buy it at $99, but then I receive it at $87.50. So,
Yeah, we can add that.
gross FOBs. Gross FOB is your total, which would be your total with relating cost. And does it show lading cost in here? Yeah, lading cost is 13.
Landed.
Landing cost is lading cost, yeah.
We say laden cost is not, laden cost and landed cost are separate to us, by the way.
Okay.
Laden cost is like FOB plus freight,
Right.
plus gallonage,
Right.
all that stuff,
So what's the landed cost mean?
That's
the
just
landed cost group.
your landed cost group that you put in the freight lane.
The
Oh,
one
okay,
called New
okay,
Jersey Spirits.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Okay, but yeah, let's do the sales manager one. This is the out of stock one. So run the other one. It's shows the same thing. So your sales team is going to get these reports. Let me tell you when they're going to get them. Every day
At
at
3 o'clock.
4 o'clock.
Oh, 4? We changed it to 4? Okay.
Which we can change it to 3.
Nope,
that's fine.
4 o'clock is perfect.
And they're going to get a detail of everything that was received today. It's really simple. Just item description, quantity, and it shows according to them in the selling unit of measure. So you received it in 6 bottles per case, but we'll show it to them in 12. So all that still holds true. There's another version of this report that Bill ran that showed up blank. That is one that in particular flags if something was out of stock before you received it, because that's usually the hot items that everybody wants to know
Right.
about. So it looks exactly the same as this, except the header says, hey, this was out of stock.
So both of those reports are automatically gonna print at 4 o'clock to the sales.
It's going to email to that your sales distribution group.
Does that
Okay.
show vintage on it?
These do not, so that's a good point. We have it, so we will show it on there.
Because that's the item, that is gonna be the item number?
Now, so let's think about this for a second.
Great,
Do you
so,
want your sales team to know that you got a new vintage? Or, no, I guess it doesn't matter, because those items, everything's held in the same SKU. So yeah, we can add it onto there if you want to. So they'll know 2017 is in there, but you guys still need to sell out of the 15-16 before you move into that.
right, and that's, yeah, and they can't override it to take the 17 because there's 16 in stock.
And it's all in the same SKU, so.
Well, yeah, sometimes it is, but going forward, we're not gonna have, the item numbers going forward are not gonna be vintage specific. It's gonna be a random number.
Oh, yeah, in the item number.
In the item number, right.
Yeah.
Going forward, live, the item number is gonna be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yes, and then your
And right
vintage
now
is
we
the
have
item
1, 2,
number.
3, 4, 5, 1, 6. So everybody knows the 1, 6 is 2016. We're not gonna have that anymore.
Yeah.
There's gonna be a specific line for vintage, and it's gonna say 2016.
Got it. We'll add that.
Right, so if on the line, we didn't want the sales force to see it, we can identify at the time of the purchase order.
I think it's not gonna hurt to show them. They can't.
They're
The
getting
only
items
time you're
that
gonna
they don't
tag,
want.
the only time you're gonna tag the vintage is when you have one SKU that you're holding all of the vintages inside, right?
Well,
As you sell it, like your warehouse is going to pull the 15-16 before they pull the 17.
right, so, well, yeah,
They should.
like Harlan, like for instance, Harlan's a really high-end brand that we get, and we only get 10 cases in an allocation. And so it's all sold, and if the sales force like slacked, and the guy like was like, oh, I didn't sell it, but I was supposed to, and now he sees 10 cases came in, but he's not one of the ones, John will actually have us take those 10 cases off of the daily receipt.
Oh, yes. Okay,
Yeah.
so you guys have a flag at the item card to say don't show an order entry. If that's marked, we can suppress it from this report.
Right,
That's the way to go.
right, right. And there's a fine line, because John Slocum like wants to show it to everybody, and then John Petrello's like, no, because then I get the repercussions that, you know.
Right. No,
I would suppress. There's only and there's a handful. It's not a lot.
but it's not gonna hurt to hide it from the receipt, because you still know it came in, and chances are, if it's something highly allocated like that, John and John are gonna know it's coming in anyway.
Right.
So if the reps don't see it, John and John still know, and if they wanna push that information out to the reps via email and just say, hey, blah, blah, blah came in,
Right.
they can do that.
Right.
So it puts it in their hands.
Right.
and I think-
Right. Which is what Patty does when she sends an email out to the 10 people that pre-ordered it. Or
Right.
not pre-ordered it, because that's not legal. But yeah, she'll say to them, you know, the wish list of Harlan came in, and I'm billing it out tomorrow. Tell your customers they're getting it on Friday. So that's going to continue. So you know, she will still have access to seeing that information. So, but yeah, it should be suppressed from this report if it's there, and we know in advance that allocated item that
Yeah, it's set at the item, so
Okay.
it knows.
okay.
Okay, let's do invoice match. So
All right, so again, there's different ways to get to it. This, I think, is in my opinion, is the easier way, but everybody has their own way. Just check it, go to invoice match.
But you're gonna be in the one called purchase orders received, not invoiced.
Right, well, this isn't totally received, that's why it's there.
Okay.
I explained that. You must admit. I don't know
But
if
your
you.
normal flow.
Normal flow is they would be in the not invoiced.
Right, okay.
But because this isn't totally received, it's still in the
Okay.
not released,
Okay.
not received stage.
Right.
That's why it's still here.
Right.
So it's again, you just go in invoice match, and the items that are going to be invoice matched are automatically checked, just like they are when you do the receiving.
Okay.
Now, if for some reason they send you an invoice and it only has 3 of the 4 items, you just uncheck the other one.
Okay.
That's all. Same process. We're just to assume that they're all been changed. Now, one thing you can do here as well is if an item came in and they invoiced you for a different price,
Okay.
you can change it right here.
Okay. So it's instead of $6, you can make it $65.
55. You could if you wanted, if that's what they billed you for.
Okay.
Now, when we say invoice, when we go to the next screen, see the red?
Okay.
That indicates that's a price change,
Okay.
so that you visibly see
Okay.
that it was changed.
Okay.
So we have to be careful that Jessica's doing this stage, and we have 2 lines, one's for free goods, one's for the regular order. So let's say we get 98 and 2 free, or something, 95 and 5 free, and Jessica sees it, and she sees 0 as the 5 free, and the full price on the 95. She has to know that as long as those 2 lines together equal the total bill, don't change them.
But you can't do the 5 free because it's.
Right.
No, we're not going to do the 5 free. We always show a value.
Yeah, don't be showing a value. If you see an invoice without a value, we don't want her
Right.
listing that
Yes.
price.
You got it.
Mhm.
So
pallet cost in here or?
That's right down here where you have miscellaneous. If they charge it for pallets, you can put it in there. And when you click, I'll put $25 in there, just as an example. And you do the arrow.
no, you just hit the distributions button.
I meant to do this one.
You gotta hit the distributions button though.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Why is it not going there?
At the top where it says vendor doc number.
Oh,
that's where
yeah.
Jess is gonna
That's why it's not allowing me to do it.
process the supplier.
So
So,
that's where we're going to type the invoice number in there.
right.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
Now I can do it.
that invoice value at the very bottom, it should be the value of the invoice that we received from the supplier.
Right. This line here is the subtotal, which is your individual items. Then anything that's additional, if they charge any freight, pallet charges, blankets, whatever, would go in down here. Now if I click, distributions.
Okay.
Now I click distributions, that $25 does not have an account number. So this is where you would have to get with somebody to find out, either you know in advance what these various,
Oh, the GLs are? Okay.
what the GLs
Okay.
are.
Okay.
This is where you would enter the
Okay.
GL.
We do the geos?
Yeah, usually people get like little sticky notes. So like Wally would
Yeah,
tell
we're
you
only gonna
it's
have, we're gonna only have 2.
blankets
We're
or
gonna only,
pallets,
everything's already pre-assigned. Every GL account is already pre-assigned to everything that's already in the system behind the scenes. The only one that we're gonna have is for pallets or thermal blankets, and I already have that because that's under his other free. So I have that. So theoretically, we're only gonna have a GL account. We're gonna need to add it in here if we add a line item for this. Because it's either gonna be pallets, or it's gonna be a blanket, or it's gonna be.
I'm blind, so
Oh, it's really small.
okay, great.
Yeah,
Right, so-
it's probably you can just give it to them later. And
Yeah.
pallets and blankets are your
I already
biggest
have it.
ones.
I already have it. I already have it. Yeah, you already. Yeah, because it's gonna fall under that miscellaneous that we left blank in our freight links.
Mhm.
I have freight, duty, federal taxes, customs other, and then there was one that said other,
Yes.
and that's blank, but it has a GL number to it.
I gotcha.
But we left the value blank because that's where we would have the freight or pallets or a thermal blanket.
And you
or-
don't care about capturing that in your item profitability? That's like a below the line item, just needs to match it for
think so. You know, again, what type of values do we have going through this, Sandy?
Well,
besides
I mean,
blankets,
You have, occasionally, like, if it's a direct import from Capcorp, I have a $500 blanket charge that they charge on the
Yeah,
invoice.
that's typically below the line, like in that section, not
Right.
in SKU profitability.
Pallets, we get charged for pallets, out of all the Californias, sometimes out of Jersey, maybe,
A lot out of Jersey. When the
so-
invoice comes in.
so, that's really it. I mean,
That's
Yeah.
pretty typical of what people
yeah,
put down.
yeah, I mean, all my freight from Fast Break already has all of that in there. The only difference is gonna be like, Treasury will charge me pallets, Klein will charge me pallets, and so that's where I add the extra 13 cents in.
David Eber.
The other difference is like, I get trade discounts, so,
Yeah. So this trade discount field here decreases the amount of your AP invoice without affecting the profitability
right, so
of the line.
so when I receive the UVE, that's where I'm gonna put, so when I get a discount of $53.70, that's where I'm gonna put that in there.
Bank.
This is, well,
No, it doesn't,
this is also where you could put a bank. So
But
what
the
you're-
discount is the bank.
right,
yeah, so if they're giving you a discount and you have to build a bank with that, you're gonna use the trade discount field. Does that make sense?
right, or if I get 2% off,
Or yeah,
just-
whatever, too,
Right.
any sort of discount. Now, your GL account that you're gonna use for those will be different. So if you're just getting a discount, not to build a bank with it, you'll put the value in and the distribution will be X. If you put a trade discount in and you're trying to build a bank with it, your distribution is gonna be Y. Because that distribution for the bank flags to somebody else to say, ooh, you have to build a vendor bank now.
okay.
Okay.
so there's a bank account now that we're gonna have, basically.
So if you put,
Want
so
to
just
go
put
to-
$25 in there, does it drop to something else that,
So it decreases your total at the bottom, but
Okay.
under distributions, there's another blank value that needs to be filled in.
okay,
So this is the one that'll be, you have two options. Number one, overall discount, don't build a bank, GL. Number two, bank GL.
alright, so we'll need a GL account number for, which I already have for, the thermal blankets, and then we're gonna need what GL you're gonna assign to bank,
Right.
okay. And that's just gonna be a little sticky note with 2 GL accounts.
But is Jessica gonna do the matching? Is she gonna do this portion?
No, she's not
Because
gonna,
that moves it into AP at this point.
Now I thought.
right, we
you
talked
were
about
going
this,
to
we're gonna start this and she's gonna finish
And you're
it.
gonna save it to a batch.
Okay,
We're gonna start it,
Okay.
because she's not gonna know,
right, I like that.
alright, because what happens is I'm supposed to get a discount from, Mount Beautiful,
Mhm.
right? On the PO, I wrote $99, SPA's, 1550. When she sent me the invoice, it didn't have the SPA on it. I went back to her and said to her, "You're missing the SPA." "Oops, sorry," she said. Now Jessica didn't know that we were gonna get an SPA, she would have taken that full invoice value.
Yeah.
Okay. No, I like
So
that
we
process.
I thought we decided that we were gonna start this and then she was just gonna verify it at the end.
Okay.
We're not hitting anything, we're just adding
That sounds
information.
familiar. I got a lot of stuff.
I know, but I think that if we put the trade discount in here, I don't think we can we process it without a GL and she can add the GL, we have to add the GL?
No, you can save it to the batch without a GL.
Oh,
She
so
will
that she
not
can
be
add,
able to post
Post
it
it.
without the GL.
oh, so that she can put the GL in,
Yeah.
we don't really
Yeah.
theoretically need
Yeah,
it
we
then
were.
either.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you can have it, just
Yeah.
if you miss it, she'll catch it.
Yeah.
I'll give you those.
Yeah,
I think.
yeah, I think that's
really-
the only one we would need is the bank GL.
Right.
Is the bank GL, cause I have the other ones, cause it was only like 4 that you gave me that
Yeah.
we had.
I think it's gonna be good to have you guys do it because, like, the example you just gave is it's not just a matching game to whatever the vendor gave you because sometimes it's wrong. And you don't want to be messing with your inventory cost to just match an incorrect invoice. So there's proper ways that we can, make it match, pay the incorrect amount, but you're going to get a credit later from them. So I think that's good that you guys who know, ooh, that's not
Right,
the right
right.
cost.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Now, for the one where Bill put not equals there, where he changed the cost at the line, when you receive the inventory, it creates something that we call a cost layer. Is that ringing a bell?
Yep.
Okay. So if you received 300 cases at $66, right? So at the time that you receive it, that's what your inventory is worth. If Wally ran a report to say, what's my inventory worth? It's $66, right? When you invoice match and you change that, you're telling the system, oops, I was wrong. It's actually $56. 55. I'm sorry, my eyes. And if Wally ran a report at that time, it would say, never mind, your inventory is $55. So that's all great. It keeps everything, like, your gross profit is super accurate and it's kept by layer. The only thing to keep in mind here is if you sold it to a customer, the system thought it was worth $66, and now you're telling it it's worth $55. So there's some fallout, not a big deal, but there's GL entries that are made that hit your side. The layer corrects itself, so if you sell any more of that 300 cases, it sells at 55 and not 66. But the biggest catch there is your sales reporting that all of your sales managers are using. Think that you sold it for $66. Like, it doesn't go back and correct those. The reason I'm bringing this up is if for some reason something happens and it's like really wrong. Sometimes people don't care. It's like it was like a couple dollars, or maybe you haven't even started selling it to customers yet. Then it doesn't matter. You're good to go. If for some reason you accidentally received it at like $1,000 and it was supposed to be $50, call us. We will talk about all the things that we need to do to correct your GL, to correct the layer, to correct the sales reporting that your managers are seeing. There's different action plans depending on how bad it was, if we really care. There's things that can be done. But in a training like this right now, when you're first trying to just get familiar, let's not do it right now. It's going to be really overwhelming. But just train yourself that once you get that not equal sign, train yourself to say, okay, now I have to think, how big of a cost difference is this? Do I need to go talk to somebody? Yes.
Well, I can tell you that 99% of the time, when we receive a PO, or
Yes.
receive an invoice, we have the invoice.
You know it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
And
I
the only
think
time that
your
that
window-
doesn't happen is for the New Jerseys. Again, because it's so spot on. Lisa can put a PO in today.
Yeah.
Okay, they can release it tonight. She arranges to pick it up tomorrow, and we receive it the next day. So within 48 hours, we've put a PO in and we've received it. And there's not enough time because they have to get the bill of ladings back before they can invoice.
Yeah.
So for her, a lot of times it's because if it's a smaller customer, they don't have a night batch run like NHW, for instance. They get everything automated so that Lisa doesn't. I mean, she gets an invoice at 6 o'clock at night for something that was picked at 4 o'clock in the afternoon or staged at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So she gets those invoices, but there's a lot of times that she doesn't get them.
Okay.
So it's quite often, more often for the New Jerseys, that we don't have the invoice at the time of receipt. But
Yeah.
I can tell you for everything else that we receive,
Yeah.
we have the invoice, including all of the customs invoices. We have everything because we received today a true.
Yeah.
We're gonna still go back to the customers and say we need the invoice, but
Good. So I think your windows shrunk. I remember that from your discovery, so it was like, ooh, that's not going to be a really big issue with them. Some people
Right.
leave those, like they do the receiving and they don't get
Oh,
the invoice. until
yeah.
like a month later.
Yeah. I deal with people up in Massachusetts. They have no idea what their cost is.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
scary.
Yeah.
So just know that not equal sign is in red, so it's a good visual indicator.
Okay.
Train yourself to stop, ask the question if everything's okay.
Okay.
And we have a couple alert reports that tell you, and this will be really good, especially because you're saving it to a batch. It says, hey, there's a batch out there with invoice matches in it. After you post it, cost layers are going to change. And then there's another one that says, hey, you just posted a batch and cost layers have changed. So there's like a proactive and a reactive. And we have both of those emailing out for you guys. Hold on. They're not in our email list, but they will email out for you guys. Can you go to the purchases folder, Bill, please? I think that's where they are. Yes. So that cost layer under change unposted. Did you finish? Did you save yours to batch?
No, but I will.
Okay, let's do that, and it'll show up there. So this might be a good one for Jessica to run as part of her process, or maybe you guys, if after you finished your entering the batch,
Well, that's
and
what I wanna
you
do.
save it,
I
run this report.
I want to, out of all the POs that I'm gonna do in a practice while you guys are here, I'm gonna give Jessica 3 of my file folders. So after I put the PO in, I release it to the warehouse, I receive it from the warehouse, I invoice match it, I'm gonna give her those 3 file folders.
Perfect.
And she's going to,
And she can practice
she's gonna,
her part.
right, with mine,
Mhm.
with the actual ones that we started with, so that she, cause they've already been received, she'll know what the costs are, and she'll have the PO numbers, and then she'll just give me the file folders back again. She doesn't need to do 20, but if she does 3 of the ones that I practiced on, she should see the flow.
Yeah.
So
I
she's
think
really
that's
excited that we're gonna put POs in, and I'll try to get one through for tomorrow, so that she can sit with, one of the 2 of you between tomorrow and Friday, and then finish her scenario of this, so.
Perfect.
Now, if we had sold this and this gets restated, and let's say it's minimal,
Okay.
it's going to go to a purchase price variance account and restate maybe the prior months if we crossed over months.
Yes. That's the catch there.
Yeah.
So,
Well, that would be like a floor stock adjustment though, wouldn't that be? Like if they were gonna do a floor stock adjustment on inventory that was old or bad, and Patty does a,
it doesn't
It
change your
doesn't
quantities,
change it.
it's cost. So
Yeah,
it's,
it's just-
okay,
yeah.
Yeah.
okay.
So, one thing for Jessica to know, if she knows that there's something in that batch that she's about to post and it's gonna change a layer, and you've sold out of it, the system's gonna make journal entries. That pops up in one of those posting journals. She can print that for you. It gives you the journal entry number. It gives you the accounts. So you can take a look at that journal entry. If you don't like the period that it hit in, you can move it,
Yeah.
reverse it, whatever.
Okay, cool.
So this one gives you a visual of, hey, you're about to invoice match. You received it at 66. Can you move your mouse down just so we have a visual of the receipt unit cost? Yep, so 66, but now you're invoicing it at 56. Here's your difference. We give you the net FOB, the SPA, your current frontline, just kind of some high-level information for you to know everything that's going on with that item.
Oh, there's a vintage in there.
Yeah,
Okay.
this one
It's
is.
in this report.
Yeah,
So,
that's
so now we completed the PO, we invoice matched. Would we print this screen and attach it to the back of what we send to Jessica?
I would think that's a good idea to do for her, so she knows that in the batch that she's posting, she has to watch for that journal entry for one.
Well, I mean, for any of them, not just one that, on a price that we changed, for everything. Every time that we invoice match.
This will show up blank if you haven't changed the cost
Okay.
of anything, so there won't be anything.
Yeah, this is only for cost
Is
changes.
there something that we print and give to her, or do we just give her basically now?
When you post it, you get a posting journal.
But you guys aren't posting it, so,
Yeah, like right now,
I
what
don't know,
we do is I take the purchase order, which we call the pink,
yeah.
the invoice, and that receiving ticket that we got from the
Back sheet.
back sheet.
Yeah. Just
We attach those 3 pieces of paper, and that's what goes to accounting right now.
Yeah.
In the original form. And then we make a copy for the file, and we stamp them file copies so that we keep a copy along with other documents, like the warehouse tickets. She doesn't get the warehouse receiving report. She doesn't need a huge thing. And then we keep the files complete in our area.
If you want to, you can print an edit list of the batch and put it on top of it and give it to her. Otherwise, I would just say give her the supporting documents and then she knows she's ready to go. It's up
Okay.
to you.
Okay.
That edit list, can you go, transactions, purchasing, batches, yeah. So in here, Bill can pull up the purchasing invoice entry batch he has and hits the little printer icon on the right. Yeah, just print it to screen. If you wanted some sort of paper trail or something to put on top, you could print this. It would tell her the batch name. She kind of has a visual of which invoices are inside of there in the items. So
And that would be for the entire day, though.
that's for that batch. So if you save all of your invoice matches for a day in a batch, then yes, that's the entire day.
If we save them in
Jessica is responsible for posting that batch. You're handing her this report that says, review this batch, this is everything that's in there. She can review it on the paper, or she can go into Infusion and review it in there manually. It's totally up to her.
Is it by PO or by the entire day?
Receipts. And it'd be for whatever you put in that batch. In other words,
Yeah, it's whatever you put in the batch.
so we've received,
Is each PO a batch?
no. Here's what you
Day
do.
is a batch.
Could be
Yes.
her.
Okay,
Yeah, or we have two batches, one you did and one.
Yeah.
right.
Basically, what the batch is, and what we recommend is that you use your initials and today's date. That way you know what date you did it and who did it. That's number one. And when you start doing the PO invoice matching, each PO that you invoice match, you assign it to the same batch. So that, and then you save it, then you go and do another one. So when you pull up the batch, every one of those invoice matches that you did will be in that batch. So-
There's a place in there for us to put like SK and today's date?
You
The
can
batch.
name the batch ID.
The batch ID.
Oh,
So he called his BK, test BK, Bill Cudlett, so you could call yours SK and then today's date, and you could call yours LA and the date.
That way you know who did it and what day it was created.
gotcha, okay.
And if you want, and then if there were multiple receipts, they would all list here.
Okay,
And then you could just double click on it. You can actually go in and review it right on there.
okay.
How many?
Yes, we did that.
Mm-hmm.
Did we do the receipt?
That's
Yeah.
the one that you
Mhm.
asked me to
Yeah.
add gross profit onto, right?
No, the receipt, the warehouse receiving ticket, what we send down to the warehouse? The warehouse receiving ticket, yeah,
That was
the
the
GP one,
No, the one that has,
the GP on it.
right, that
Yeah,
goes on
that's
the
what she,
back.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that prints as soon as you hit post.
Nope, that was one that we ran outside the system in the purchases folder.
Okay.
That receiving detail report, no, Bill, that one.
Oh yeah, this one right here.
Right, that's the one that the GP's gonna,
Yeah, I need to put GP on there for you.
and vintages, you said,
Mm-hmm.
And
okay.
where does this go?
That's gonna attach to the back of the PO, what we're doing right now. So it's gonna be the PO, the invoice, and this ticket.
Can
Behind
I
the
ask
PO.
you a stupid question? Why do we need GP on? Usually
Well,
Jessica doesn't look at GP. Who
no,
else
she
does?
doesn't, but
does.
Patty does, and we make a copy of the same document for Patty reasons versus our reasons. Now, we may find because of the way that Patty's gonna get reporting, we no longer need to give Patty a copy
Mm-hmm.
of the PO, of these. We may only need to make one copy for us, and John, and Patty are not gonna get a hard copy anymore. They're gonna be getting a online report differently that's gonna show them.
Yeah, because I'm almost wondering.
Because we're gonna know up front whether the GPs are right or whether they're wrong. So,
They're gonna have, like, so tomorrow we're doing the item pricing,
Yeah.
training. So they're gonna have a workbook where they can set those pricing. You guys have a low gross margin report, which flags if you're selling below your
And I
target
think
margin,
that's
so.
one that Patty may want, rather than getting every gross profit, just get the low gross profit
Right.
report, so she has to look into
Right.
it. So maybe she's on the distribution list for that, rather than
right,
adding
so,
gross
right, so what I'm
profit to
saying
this.
is right now we make 3 copies
Right.
of every PO that we do.
Yeah.
We keep a copy for our file, we staple it together, we give Jessica the original, okay? And then we make 2 copies, one for John and John to review as GPs, and then one for Patty to review to make sure that it's in the book, or this or that, or or whatever. We may not need to make 3 copies, we may be able to save that little itty bitty tree and only make 1 copy for us, and then Patty will get her own report, and John will get their own
Yeah.
report, so.
Still get the low gross
Or
profit.
because the buyers are in there, right now, I have to figure out whether, Alex is the buyer for this, or Max is the buyer for this, they're gonna automatically get. I know, Matt, right now, they're gonna automatically get what was received that day, so they're gonna see their own, so we may not need to make 3 copies, we may only need to go to the copier and make 1 copy.
Yeah. I'm all about not putting gross profit on there, but it's gonna be a change, so just retraining.
Well,
Patty
see, if John was
to
here,
their-
he would be able to tell us whether that would be something that would be necessary. I would say vintage, but if it's not going to anybody, then it probably isn't gonna really make a difference.
Yeah, I think, well, we're gonna do we have a couple more open item reviews, like the end of every day, we talk about the things that we've identified, and I would be willing to bet he's gonna be on the one on Friday, which is when Wendy's coming in too. So I'll bring it up then.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, John, I mean, he would be able to answer that, but if nobody needs to get these back sheets anymore, like we're given, then theoretically, it doesn't really make a difference.
Yeah.
If it's free goods or not free goods or bang, the back sheet doesn't match
Yeah. and
to
it's
what we receive. So because we're adding a bank value in and they're giving it at a lower price, so I don't pay attention to the back sheet.
Yeah. Yeah. This might be a good time to move away from that.
I mean, we printed to show that we received it.
Yeah. Which
You
is
know,
what you
Which
want.
is something, so yeah, I mean, as far as what we call it is gonna be something,
That's how Patty catch it, well, it won't be like that.
right, because she's gonna automatically get something that's gonna print out from the printer.
Good. So when Jessica posts that invoice match, it flows through and hits the vendor's AP. So I think you guys won't worry about that side.
Right. Right, and I said, right now what we do is we handwrite on the invoice numbers, and some of the invoices and numbers are really, really long.
Mm-hmm.
And like I switch them together, or, you know, we make a number really loopy, and so Jessica really has to go back to the invoice anyhow to make sure that, you know,
Flush the page.
she's reading the right invoice number as opposed to what I wrote, because sometimes my nines look like zeros, sometimes, you know. So right now, by us putting it in, is we're gonna put it in, she's gonna proof it.
Yeah.
So, like we said originally, if she put it in, she's not proofing it. So, for us to handwrite it in, that may be one more thing on the bottom of that, on the bottom of our PO. Right now, we have invoice number and value. We don't have to write that on there anymore.
Yeah. That's
Like, we don't need to write that on there anymore. It doesn't make a difference because it's going to be invoice match.
Mm-hmm. Good.
So it's one less thing that we have to write, and you know, gives us.
So tomorrow, from 8:30 to 10,
We have Bill
you guys have
sitting
that.
on a rolling chair between the two of us because Lisa and I are about this far apart.
But like I said,
Yeah,
anytime.
yeah. So I think that him sitting, watching each of us put them in and asking the questions on hand, right there, and then us practicing for more.
Yeah.
I think that yeah, we'll probably end up grabbing somebody over the next 2 days to
Yeah.
ask.
And remotely too.
Right.
It's very easy
Right.
for us to,
Right.
come on. Now, we don't mind sitting and watching you practice, but eventually you want to move that to, okay, now I'm going to practice on my own and call
Right.
you when I have a question.
Right.
So
Right.
that's kind of
Right.
good flow.
Right.
Cool.
Plus, you have a pretty good overall understanding where you
Yeah,
can.
it's just you know what it's gonna be. You know, you said it perfectly yesterday, and Wendy's very, you know, how is this gonna be, Sandy? What do you think, Sandy? And I'm like, you know what, Wendy? Natalie started yesterday's session or Monday morning session perfectly. Okay, she said everybody knows their job, but it's like starting a new job.
Mhm.
Okay. I've already interviewed. I know what I'm capable of. I know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
All right. But now I'm going to a new company, and I'm learning their system.
Mm-hmm.
And Wendy looked at me, and I was like, "That's what she said," and it totally makes sense because that's the mentality that we need to go into this life.
Yeah.
I'm starting a brand new job,
Yeah.
brand new company. The only thing I know is the people.
Yeah.
That's all I know is the people. I don't know anything else. And I think that we go in thinking that way, that it'll be a little bit, and it's going to be awkward. And that's the bottom line. I mean, it is because we're used to something, you know, one way. But
Yeah.
I don't know. I started 15 years ago, and I still remember the system that we had because it could do a lot more things different than the system that we have now. And every once in a while, I'm like, you know, Turnkey used to be able to do this.
Yeah.
And how do I remember that from 15 years ago? Because it was something that was really, it was good. It was probably the only good thing in it, but
Yeah.
you know, it was good. So
our hope for you guys is that you practice. So we have 5 weeks till go live. But let me tell you this: the last 2 weeks before go live, we're gonna be working on data. We're gonna be getting those last minute fixes in. We're gonna be working on sales reporting. Do not wait to test. So this week, next week, maybe a little bit of the following week. You know, I know you're going on vacation, so come up with a plan so that you know you're getting into the system. Now, you can test all the way up until go live. What I'm saying is, take the time now when Bill and I are like dedicated. Yes, we will sit on your screen and we will watch you work. Get the majority of your testing in now, so that towards the end of this like 5-week stretch, you're just going in and getting that repetition, not the oh my god, I have no idea what I'm doing. That's for like these next 2 weeks.
That's where I am right now.
Yeah, perfect. That's expected.
Yeah.
And everybody's
Also, it's fresh in your mind. Just
But
go
ev-
through
but
it.
everybody's
No, I
there.
know
I mean,
what I'm doing.
yeah, but Lisa, everybody's there. It's not just you.
Yeah.
Everybody's there. Everybody's in the same boat. Everybody is looking at this like, oh my god, what am I gonna do?
Yeah.
You know, I don't, and nothing's making sense. All I see is blocks. All I see is
That's all
stuff
it
is in different spots. So,
But I'll be honest with you, probably, if you remember, whenever it was you guys rolled out the other one, you probably felt the same way. Totally new.
No.
No?
Nope.
I mean, it looks a lot. It's Windows based. You know,
That's what
it's
it
a
is.
mouse.
Yeah.
It's pretty
but
little.
And you have to
I
go
would
here,
suggest
here,
that
here.
she and Maureen and I don't know who else has
Hey,
little
Bill.
itty bitty screens,
Pause
that
it
they get
before
bigger
you
screens
send it.
because there's a lot of information